ton of joy, if I'm being quite honest, to do what I'm about to do today. But I'm hoping that together we can find some joy in the fact that The Weeknd, who ironically I have listened to more than any other artist in the year of our Lord 2025. Since Hurry Up Tomorrow, the album released, it's my album of the year right now. There is no other album I have listened to more than Hurry Up Tomorrow. JD Eagles is here. Livy's here. Gareth Gorgeous in the building. It's great to see you all. Will's in the chat. Hurry Up Tomorrow is arguably my favorite Weeknd album. I've been aware of The Weeknd and his music for the better part of a decade. So I have to be honest with you all. First of all, moving some things around with the setup, he's almost a real streamer at this point. Just rearranging of some things. The background, it's becoming more full. Eventually, you won't see any of this white wall behind me. We're really out here. But here's what we are here to talk about today. As you all know, oh, fit check. I think this is a shirt I got from the Tennessee Aquarium. I'm a big penguin guy. Nothing crazy, something light. Many of you warned me not to go see the new Weeknd movie, Hurry Up Tomorrow. I put out... Oh, God. Just thinking about that movie actually upsets me, I'm not gonna lie. I went to go see Hurry Up Tomorrow, and I hurried up out the theater. I literally walked out before the film actually ended. I'm not gonna lie. It was really bad. It was really, really awful. But here's the thing. It's like The Weeknd, somebody said this, he's as good at making pop music as he is bad at starring in television and film. It's sickening. I can't explain it. I've never seen somebody so good at something publicly also be so bad at something in a public fashion. It's really fascinating. So in case you all didn't know, Hurry Up Tomorrow was not Abel's first attempt at acting and starring in a form of visual media. He actually starred in, produced, helped write the show called The Idol. The Idol is it's on HBO Max. It was HBO, then it was HBO Max. Now it's Max. It's about to turn back to HBO Max. That's a whole other thing. But today we are talking about The Idol. Now, how are we going to do that today? I actually have a YouTuber that I very, very much admire. I have consumed his content in the past. He goes by D'Angelo Wallace, and he actually created a 3-part series that goes in detail, breaking down all 5 episodes. Funny story, I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be 6 episodes on this Idol show, but then got dropped down to 5 for reasons that I'm sure we will find out soon. This show stars fictional pop star Jocelyn. She's played by Lily Rose Depp, who is Johnny Depp's daughter. She's a pop star in this show, and The Weeknd plays this like sleazy, greasy club promoter, producer, weirdo dude. And it's interesting because we're going to see some acting scenes from The Weeknd where in the future he will say, oh, if you don't like this character, you're not meant to. He's cringe on purpose, which I like to call Schrodinger's idiot. It's where you do something really goofy or silly or lame or awful, and then when people say you're being silly and goofy and lame and awful, you can say you're supposed to feel that way. That was the point. I think that The Weeknd is actually just not good at acting. But you can help me be the judge of that today, because what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at D'Angelo Wallace's 3-part series on The Idol, and we are going to get to the bottom of what makes this show so insufferable. Here we go. Shout out to D'Angelo Wallace. I hope he's doing well. What's that up in the search bar? Oh, like the video. I see we got around 50 derps up in here about to watch us absolutely just annihilate this show. But we're gonna be fair where we can. There are some aspects of The Idol that I did find appealing. I did a little bit of prep. D'Angelo has like a whole ad read, a whole background, whole articles that he goes through. We just want to talk about the show. So here we go. If you are not subscribed to D'Angelo Wallace already, you should be. He is truly one of my favorite YouTubers. This video is titled "The Weeknd Made a TV Show. It's a Complete Disaster." So here we go. Lock in. Hope you got a few hours because we're going to be here for a minute. We also have a goal in the chat. If you want to donate to the show, then we might just review some Weeknd music as a nice little palate cleanser. But lock in. Here we go. Let's check our volume. Let's cook.
I say it's time that we give it a watch. So we start off with a close-up shot of our main character, Jocelyn.
Okay, all set.
She's in the middle of a photo shoot in which the photographer has her go through a range of emotions for the camera, but it winds up being unintentionally funny because Lily Rose Depp doesn't really move her eyebrows during this scene, so a lot of her expressions just look weirdly similar. But she can cry on command though, so as far as I'm concerned, Jocelyn is not to be trusted.
This is really funny to me because one of the first things that D'Angelo says about the show is that she's relatively impressive as an actor, because one thing you have to give to her, she can cry on command, and then The Weeknd would go on to make that his entire movie. If you've seen Hurry Up Tomorrow, don't recommend it. All he does is cry the entire movie. As JD Eagle said, it should be called Crying Up Tomorrow.
I definitely get the point of this scene. It's obviously to show off Jocelyn's range and all of that, but I'm gonna be honest, all it really did was make me think of that one TikTok trend where girls were flexing how good they were at fake crying.
Really, really weird, by the way. This is why I'm never on TikTok. I'm just simply not on the app anymore.
How good they were at fake crying. Terrifying. Anyway, for some reason, this photo shoot scene lasted a full 2.5 minutes of just sort of sitting there and looking pretty, literally. Then we finally get the title card.
This is it, gang. This is what we're doing today. We're starting with episode 1 of The Idol, D'Angelo Wallace's breakdown, and we are going to be watching it and giving our own takes on it, because I feel like there are certain aspects of the show that obviously he touches on, but there are also some feelings that I had towards it that I never fully got to express. This has been eating away at me for like weeks, by the way. I've been thinking about this show ever since the movie was announced, and I just cannot believe, after what we're about to see, that somehow he got funding and a green light for a whole ass movie. It's ridiculous.
Ow, my ears. So we've moved on from the photo shoot, and then the next scene, Jocelyn wakes up topless, which I obviously cannot show you. But then she throws on a robe, goes outside to smoke a quick cigarette in what is honestly a pretty cool looking shot. Then she smokes another cigarette, question mark, while we get introduced to her team, who I immediately disliked.
You people are so out of touch.
Oh, here we go. You people.
You college-educated internet people.
Okay, yeah.
As a college-educated internet person myself, I'm sure this is not going to be painful to listen to at all. So
here's a pattern that I noticed when I watched Hurry Up Tomorrow, the movie. Now that I have that frame of reference, I realized that this show, I just remembered, also has characters who don't actually have much of any character at all. I'm noticing a pattern.
they're having an argument over whether or not Jocelyn should be wearing a hospital wristband as part of her photo shoot outfit.
A hospital wristband. Mental illness is sexy.
No, it's not.
The lady, her name is Nikki, goes on to explain how hot girls are not going to get with you if you're out of their league unless they're severely mentally ill, which is definitely one of the opinions of all time.
And that right there is why mental illness is sexy.
And immediately, this was only a few minutes into the first episode, and I heard mental illness is sexy, and I almost immediately aborted the mission. I was like, I don't even know where to begin with this. Is it supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be quirky? Is it supposed to be honest? What is the writing? Who wrote this? Why would you do it?
Instead of attempting to unpack any of that, I actually just realized, did the show open on a photo shoot and then just move into another photo shoot immediately?
Oh, beautiful.
Then that's when it hit me. This is the opening photo shoot. We just jumped back in time for a second to see her wake up half naked because reasons, I guess. But now we're back and we are still in the opening scene. But this time there's conflict.
If you want to show your body, which would be great, we have to change the nudity rider.
So he, like we, sees that Jocelyn has disrobed and is now displaying her bare chest to the camera. And a nudity writer, like the one he's describing, is a contract between the celebrity and the production where everybody agrees ahead of time how much the celebrity is comfortable with showing. Like, it's a pretty important thing.
It takes at least 48 hours.
Okay, so I'm not allowed to show my body?
Even though Jocelyn is pushing back against this and the show is kind of framing him like a bad guy, as an intimacy coordinator, it is literally just his job to make sure that everyone is sticking to the plan. That way people like Jocelyn are not pressured into doing things they don't want to do. But our main character just cannot be contained, I guess. Anyway, while this is all happening,
Just to be clear, in hindsight, it's really fascinating how this is how the show opens. She has a photo shoot. She's crying. Title card. There's still a photo shoot happening. And she's like, I just simply would like to show more of my body. Why is it so hard for me to do that? And they're upset with this guy who's trying to do his job by making sure that everybody is comfortable on set. It's just the most boring way to start a show ever. Like, ever. Y'all know Breaking Bad started with Walter White outside in the desert in his underpants with a stick on him, ready to blast the ops? Like, what's truly good?
Jocelyn's team members find out before she does that an explicit selfie of hers has leaked on the internet.
What? On her face. What?
They don't show the selfie here, but I'm sure you can guess what's on her face if you feel like doing that. Definitely not the kind of picture you want just floating around the internet. But right now, Jocelyn doesn't know because she's too busy not wearing clothes. So the team gangs up on Jocelyn's friend / assistant Leia to see if she knows who's responsible for this picture going public. And dear God, they are so mean to her.
But I'm also trying to be a good friend.
You're not a friend. You work for her. Don't you lie to me.
I'm not.
First of all, please leave her alone.
It's so crazy to tell somebody that is a friend to someone, you are not her friend, you work for her, when in fact you all are actually not her friends, you all just work for her. Such a weird dialogue to start the show with. Also, think about the 2 points of conflict so far in this show to start the series. One, I'd like to show more of my body, and this guy's being annoying, who's literally just doing his job. Two, there's this explicit image of me covered in mayonnaise, we'll call it, for YouTube purposes, and it's been leaked onto the internet. Somebody in the chat already said this. I could not possibly care less about this conflict. Why should I care about any of this? I don't understand.
But secondly, the acting is actually pretty good so far. To be clear, her team members all seem like horrible people, but they seem like believable horrible people, which I think is pretty cool. This is also the part where we find out that Jocelyn's team lies to her, like, all the time.
What's going on? We're just ordering lunch.
How you doing?
So as per the other team members' requests, Leia hides Jocelyn's phone, that way she doesn't catch wind of the leak. Meanwhile, as per Jocelyn's requests, the guy who is yelling at Leia, Haim, he decides to do something about this pesky intimacy coordinator. But his solution is apparently to lock the intimacy coordinator in a bathroom?
There's a bathroom.
Yeah, it's a very big bathroom. Please.
Like I said, Jocelyn couldn't be contained, but I guess this guy could. Anyway.
Really crazy that instead of just like, I don't know, paying the guy off or telling him that she's just gonna do it regardless, why is it so hard for her to just dress the way she wants to regardless? Is she going to get sued? Why do we have to lock this dude in the bathroom? And to be clear, it's never brought up again.
Wait, this is definitely where I felt like the show's messaging was a little unclear. Obviously, they are presenting Jocelyn's team as the bad guys for falsely imprisoning a guy just so that Jocelyn could take nude photos. But at the same time, I also did feel like the show was presenting the intimacy coordinator as a problem as well, which would be a really weird thing to do considering his whole job is to just prevent exploitation. But regardless of intentions, we never see him again in this episode. So I guess in the end, it doesn't really...
Not never see him again in the episode. We never see him again in the entire series. So this character was literally introduced so that he could be shoved in a bathroom and then never heard from again. What, did he starve to death in there? Like, what a ridiculously odd way to start a show.
Matter. Anyway, Nikki from Jocelyn's team now finds out about this photo, and I actually kind of like her reaction.
Who did this?
We don't know, but we gotta deal with it.
That brazen little minx.
I mean, I don't like the phrase, that brazen little minx. That sounds like something that would belong more so in The Great Gatsby, but I just like the hypocrisy of it all, right? Mental illness is sexy, and Jocelyn should be allowed to shoot nude, even against the rules. But this picture is actually really, really bad, and the only difference is, unlike Jocelyn's image or this photo shoot, they can't control this picture, and so therefore they don't like it. But that's not going to stop them from trying to control it.
We're the #1 trending topic on Twitter.
Okay, so another one of Jocelyn's team members has...
I actually found this bit to be relatively realistic. Let's just say, Chath, help me out with this. What's like a relatively washed young pop star that's trying to make a comeback right now? Like, who's like a C to D list white young pop star? I'm trying to think of one. Yes, The Weeknd did produce this show. Oh my god, Justin Bieber, MGK. I'm thinking about like a woman. She's not young, but Katy Perry. Let's say that Katy Perry, for example, had a leaked image of her face covered in, ranch dressing, right? That would, in fact, become the #1 trending thing on Twitter. No? I feel like in this sick, twisted age that we're in. Also, shout out Katy Perry. She's absolutely, she's just not hitting like she used to. Katy Perry used to have some bangers. No more, my friend, no more.
Has shown up. I don't even really know his name, but shout out Dan Levy. And together they're all going to get this situation back on track without Jocelyn even knowing. But at this point, it started feeling kind of formulaic because like every 5 minutes, a new famous person shows up. And that's just to kind of, I guess, make us think that it's still interesting, even though it's 12 minutes in and all that's happened is one photo leak.
It is really crazy that at this point in the episode, we're 12 minutes into the episode and nothing has actually really happened. They're at a photo shoot. They locked a dude in the bathroom, and there's a leaked photo of a ranch dressing incident. Here.
And a mild disagreement. Like, then another character shows up.
I'm Jocelyn's manager.
Talia Hirsch, Vanity Fair.
Then another character shows up.
Andrew Finkelstein.
Do you have ID?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm from Live Nation.
Like, I get it. The cast is casting. Now, could something happen already? Anyway.
I feel like they spent an exorbitant, extraordinary, excessive amount of money on the casting, because I recognize like all of these people in the show, but do they actually do anything? I'm leaning no.
Wait, while Jocelyn is being photographed, there are dancers outside rehearsing choreo for her new single that she's going to drop.
It's out.
incredible.
Honestly, this song, I love this song.
It's good.
World-class sinner.
World Class Sinner is quite the title, so I was actually very interested to hear this song. What good is a pop star without their pop music after all? Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate Dan Levy? Like, yes, his comedic delivery is always really great, but I swear even his facial expressions alone are enough to carry an entire show. Like, look at this face he makes when Talia from Vanity Fair introduces herself to Jocelyn.
Great pop culture writers.
I do profiles.
Oh, we do profiles.
So nice to meet you.
I genuinely think Dan Levy is great. That's
I rock with Dan Levy heavy. My wife and I watched Spies. Yeah. How much Schitt's Creek did we watch, do you think?
I think around 4 seasons.
We got like 4 seasons into Schitt's Creek. Dan Levy, hilarious on that show. Great character. Highly recommend Schitt's Creek. I need to finish that show. But yeah, he's on the show and he's completely wasted, by the way. Naturally.
That's why I'm kind of sad that he's in this. Also, I really like Talia from Vanity Fair. I've never seen Hari Neff in anything before this, but I would like to see her in things after this. And it was actually at this moment that I realized, hold on a second. I find every single other person on screen to be more interesting than Jocelyn. And I'm pretty sure that's not how main characters are supposed to work. And even at that,
Jocelyn is a shockingly uninteresting main character. By the way, we're like halfway through this YouTube video almost, and we're like 20 to 25 minutes into the first episode of the show. And where is the Weeknd?
the characters who are doing a good job are really constrained by the fact that so far, nothing is really happening. Anyway, we find out that Jocelyn used to be a child actress.
I actually grew up watching you on Rock House.
Oh my god, that is so sweet.
Also, bruh, Jocelyn is a chain smoker. Like, baby, hold me closer in the backseat of your Rover. When did smoking become cool again? That's what I want to know, Jocelyn. To be
Chat, is smoking cigarettes cool? I feel like I never see people smoking cigarettes anymore. I feel like I broached this topic before. It was either in the Discord or in like a chat some other time. Like, dog, I feel like I never see people smoking cigarettes anymore. I'm not out here telling anybody what to do, or I'm not telling people what's cool and what's not cool. But if you ever wonder to yourself, what would it be like to smoke a cigarette? Don't. Just don't worry about it. It's cool.
be clear, it's not and never was at any point
This ain't the 1960s.
cool. Anyway, looks like we're just in time for, you guessed it, another new character.
We're going out tonight, you know that.
So Jennie from Blackpink plays Diane, one of Jocelyn's friends and backup dancers. They do some Britney Spears inspired choreography, and we get yet another one of the Idol's gratingly on the nose lines.
What Britney and Jocelyn have gone through is really unique, but ultimately universal.
There's this crazy narrative device called subtlety, which is especially cool in films and TV because you can just show things and you don't.
It's so, why is it, I don't know why I just like took personal offense to them even comparing this fictional pop star to Britney Spears, because we're gonna hear some of Jocelyn's music later, and it's no Toxic, it's no Womanizer, it's no Hit Me Baby One More Time. Don't get me started.
Always have to say them. But hey, I'm not the writer of the show. I'm just the guy struggling to get through the first episode of the show. Anyway, her team is having yet another tense conversation about Jocelyn behind her back.
I'm just worried she's having another psychotic break.
But she never had a psychotic break. Never had one.
Apparently, Jocelyn...
This show sucks mainly because everything that you learn about The Idol, the television show, you learn through people just having conversations about what they want you to know about the main character. This is how I know The Weeknd was so heavily involved in the script and the structure of the show, because you can just tell, even though it looks nice, like it's filmed with great cameras and has nice shots, even though they have the right people on the show, it's just people sitting around talking about, oh, I used to watch you on that show. She's a child star. Oh, the only thing that's good show don't tell in this show is Jocelyn smoking a bunch of cigarettes. You're like, oh, that must mean something. Maybe she's stressed. Maybe she picked that up from somewhere or somebody. But everything else is just a whole lot of yapping, okay? This ain't a podcast, buddy. I'm gonna need to see some, like, nice visual storytelling, please.
Is fresh off the heels of a psychotic break. Her mother has recently passed away, and her ticket sales are declining due to the fact that it's harder to market her to teenage girls due to her overly adult image. She's even struggling a bit with her choreo. So
this feels a little bit like, I feel like they're pulling from like a couple of different pop stars, child stars turned pop stars. I feel like there's like a little bit of a Miley Cyrus vibe they're trying to sell us on here with young Jocelyn.
Anne has to take the lead at one point. But as they're doing their dance rehearsal, we finally hear Jocelyn's upcoming single, World Class Sinner. But the thing is, I can't really show you the choreography, which is really funny because I just called the show out for not showing things. But the dances that they're doing involve a lot of gyrating and grinding, and Jocelyn's bikini is not really doing the thing where it like covers your body in any.
Look, D'Angelo Wallace is a seasoned YouTuber. I'm not going to show you any clips that he's not willing to show, because if he thinks he would get cooked for it, then I'd definitely get cooked for it. But yeah, they do have like some nice scenes where, let me explain what I mean by nice. The choreography is like pretty impressive and realistic, but they ain't got no clothes on and they humping at each other.
Anyway, so I'm not even going to bother fighting with YouTube demonetization over this one. So let's just listen to Jocelyn's new single instead.
I'm just a freak, yeah. You know I want it.
So my official verdict on World Class Sinner is It's kind of mid, but it's not like making my ears bleed or anything. The freak, yeah, and you know you want it bad. Oh, and then the next line. And we can meet, yeah, but I don't need to know your name.
It's not great. It's not a great song.
Honestly, it sounds like a TikTok star would sing this. Like if I asked an AI to write an Addison Rae song, I'm pretty sure that this is exactly what it would do. Anyway, while Jocelyn was practicing, her team finally took control of the narrative that was spinning out of control about this leaked photo, and they've decided to go with the story that it was leaked for revenge. Now that
Thank you, JD Eagles. Appreciate you, dog. Spread the bread. Spread the bread. Break bread. Spread it. Whatever that means for you in your life. Appreciate you, dog.
it's no longer a PR nightmare, they decide to let Jocelyn in on the situation, but she like barely cares at all.
I mean, I feel like it could be a lot worse. Right?
100%.
Right.
That for me was probably the best joke in the episode because like her team just acting like they were totally cool with it the whole time, as if they weren't just threatening people over it literally 5 minutes ago. In that moment, the show worked for me. But then at the same time, it also kind of didn't, because for some reason, they felt the need to actually show us, the audience, the picture in question. And I really wish that they hadn't. Not because I'm a prude either. In fact, it's kind of...
Yeah, they do in fact show her covered in tartar sauce on the actual show, which is just completely unnecessary. Not because, again, like not because like, oh my god, that's so gross, ill, how dare you. But it's just like she doesn't even care about the photo, which the punchline in the scene is effective because they're all like, oh yeah, we agree. It's not that big of a deal. It works, but also it resolves the only conflict that's happened halfway through this first episode. Very high budget, very high produced, very talented actors. They show the image. They do in fact show the image. I considered while preparing to do this show, having it ready, and then I remembered that like I'm not a freak idiot that likes their career. It's like exactly what you would think, you know? Like it's but them showing it is kind of crazy because she doesn't really care. Also, I'd like to reiterate that with all due respect, nothing has really happened in the show. And the one thing that did happen, she ended up not caring about. So like, what are we even doing here?
Kind of the opposite. From the way everyone was reacting to this image, I thought it was going to be crazy. I thought it was going to be like career-ending levels of insanity, but then we see the picture and it's like, oh, okay. I'm kind of with Jocelyn on this one. I was expecting so much worse, and I didn't even think they were going to show it. I guess
D'Angelo just low-key exposed himself. I mean, I wouldn't say I was that nonchalant seeing the image. I mean, I did see it and I was like, ugh. I see why it would be #1 trending. It's nice that she's able to take it in stride. I think that most human beings would see an image of themselves like that on Twitter and be like, oh Jesus. But, you know, whatever.
So that's a tricky thing about subtlety. Sometimes it's better to tell instead of
It definitely would have been better if they didn't show it, because then you could just use your imagination.
show. I do want to make one thing really clear though. When I say I thought it would be worse, I'm not saying that it's not bad in the first place. Leaking photos of other people is never okay under any circumstances, especially not for vindictive reasons. I just thought they were overreacting to the contents of said photo. But with this, we are finally done with the opening sequence. But now the episode is halfway over. I kid you not. It took us 24 minutes to get out of this photo shoot / dance rehearsal in which so little was happening, and yet we are already halfway done. Honestly, as I was watching it, the pacing was just so noticeable.
Yes. This is what happens when you've never made film or TV before, because I had the same problem when I was watching the Hurry Up Tomorrow movie, starring The Weeknd, produced by The Weeknd, co-written by The Weeknd. The pacing is so bad. Scenes will go on for way too long, or something will happen that's way too short when they should linger on a moment. And imagine being halfway through an episode of this HBO Max show, the same platform that has gems like Succession and The Last of Us, mainly season 1, and many other great series that I'm not thinking of right now. Euphoria, even, for example. And it's crazy because Sam Levinson, who did Euphoria, fantastic episodes of that show. Unbelievable performances, like award-winning performances. And somehow he links up with The Weeknd and he gets his power zapped. The show's trash. Halfway through this first episode, nothing happens. There's nothing that hooks you.
And it felt so weird.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones, of course. Yeah, Game of Thrones. And by extension, House of Dragon. I'm ready for House of Dragon to pull up with the next season too.
I literally kept checking the time. Like, are we even going to have time for The Weeknd to show up? Anyway, if I had to sum up the first half of the episode, I would say that it was slow, but well shot, uneventful, but well acted. Honestly, it was just boring and pretty, I guess. But dear God, does it all go downhill in the second half. So Jocelyn and Diane are decompressing after a hard day's work of dance rehearsals. Jocelyn is, of course, smoking in the sauna, which, to be clear, is indoors. But anyway, Jocelyn's like,
such a wild thing to do. Smoking a cigarette inside a sauna is nuts. Like, somehow that feels like a safety hazard. Like, it's just a wild thing to do.
oh yeah, didn't you?
Y'all ready for Tedros? For those of you that have never seen The Idol before, you're about to get your mind blown. Seeing The Weeknd acting and the way that the way he looks, it's going to be very jarring for you. I'm just trying to prepare you.
Say we should go out later. Where are we going again? But the way they frame it is honestly so scary.
What was the name of that club?
Like, between that look that Diane just gave and the ominous music in the background, obviously things are about to get a whole lot darker. And in this club, we finally meet The Weeknd's character, Tedros. Right off the bat, this man is corny. Like, not the 1,000-yard light-skinned stare just because you saw a pretty girl at the club. Absolutely not.
Great editing by D'Angelo, by the way. But yeah, from the second you're introduced to The Weeknd's character, just immediately unlikable guy. Just like immediate antagonist energy. Yeah, 1,000-yard light skin stare is crazy.
Anyway, even though he did see Jocelyn, he waits until she's had a few drinks and then he sort of acts like he's just now seeing her for the first time.
Is that Jocelyn? Hold on, is that Jocelyn?
So we find out that this is actually Tedros's club, and we also find out that Tedros has absolutely no game whatsoever. I am talking about negative Riz.
You're an icon. You're a legend.
You're an icon. You're a legend. What's he doing with his hands, though?
We also find out that Tedros has absolutely no game whatsoever. I am talking about negative Riz.
You're an icon. You're a legend. Oh my God, he's so beautiful.
He's like that one video with the guy and the credit cards.
Oh my God, beautiful. Please drain me. Please take everything I have. Oh.
Anyway, Tedros asks to dance with her and she looks mortified, rightfully so.
Can I dance with you?
She does not say yes, notably, but then he just slides right over there to dance with her anyway with his rat tail and horrible dance moves. I cannot emphasize strongly enough how weird and uncomfortable this character is.
How can anyone not fall in love with you?
I don't even know you.
But then, in...
Okay, nitpick time. You are not going to tell me that this man is whispering into her mouth in the middle of this loud club. Let's learn how to make a TV show. Realistic, please. I'm begging.
what is probably one of the most why though moves I've seen in television in a long time, Jocelyn just totally goes for him. Like this greasy guy in a club who is embarrassing and strange. She's just like, yeah, this makes sense, and basically almost hooks up with him in a hallway. Now, while this is all going down, we see...
Yeah, truly one of the most why though moments in the history of television. This show trying to convince me that pretty important pop star Jocelyn would pull up to a club. Some greasy rat tail weirdo is like, oh, come here. Hey, oh, Jocelyn, come here. Dance with me. Come here. As if she would actually give this weirdo the time of day is absolutely absurd. But I digress.
See a few people in the club who are definitely going to wind up being important later. You can just tell. Like, we have this one guy over here who looks like an Andrew Tate follower. We have this other guy who is basically what Tedros is trying to be, except it actually works because he winds up dancing with Jocelyn's friend Leia.
You want to dance?
And as for Jocelyn, she and Tedros got interrupted in the hallway, so the conversation has turned to her music. They're discussing her upcoming album, which she does not like.
How can you put out something you hate?
Well, you obviously don't work in the music industry.
Ha.
This is funny.
Does not like.
How can you put out something you hate?
Well, you obviously don't work in the music industry.
Ha. Get it? Because he's played by The Weeknd. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is where the show started losing me. And The Weeknd's acting is just... well, it's not good.
Pop music is like the ultimate Trojan horse.
Pop music is the ultimate Trojan horse. Okay, quick tangent. This is the exact moment where the show lost me, because it was the first time that I saw The Weeknd trying to use his mediocre television show to glaze himself as a extremely successful pop artist. What he just said right there in that clip, pop music is like a Trojan horse. That is literally the entire plot of Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's just him trying to convince you that his life is crazy and his music is meaningful, and he's using Jenna Ortega as a vehicle to do that. I'm not gonna crash out. He already tried to do it with this show. He already tried to do it. You're seeing it. You're watching it. Pop music is a Trojan horse. You're not even the artist in this show, buddy. He's literally trying to tell a pop star how pop music works. He's just some random greasy fucko in a club. Sorry. I'm getting upset. This show makes me mad. The Weeknd's attempts at film and television upset me on a personal level.
Look, I definitely understand that Tedros as a character is supposed to be creepy and disconcerting and kind of weak, I guess. And this can be pulled off really well, where a character is intentionally super hard to watch because of those reasons. Like, if you've ever seen The Staircase, that's a really good example of a character who is like this. But the problem is, I think it takes a fairly competent actor to play a character who is acting tougher than they actually are. Because that's basically two levels of acting at the same time, and to be real, I don't even think The Weeknd is on level 1.
But the best job in the world. Should be having way more fun.
I can't.
The Weeknd is literally just talking about himself in this scene where he's The Weeknd, but he's pretending not to be The Weeknd, but he's talking about how The Weeknd does stuff as a pop artist. It makes me sick.
Best job in the world. Should be having way more fun.
I cannot watch him without thinking about the fact consciously that I am watching The Weeknd pretend to be someone else. And I don't think that's how good acting works. Anyway, Jocelyn returns home and we get this one scene, which I will not be showing you. Are you noticing a trend here? And in this scene, she starts choking herself while touching herself. And I was like, wait, why am I watching this? Like, I get the point. Jocelyn is fantasizing about Tedros, but representing this as an uninterrupted 45-second long scene, just
uninterrupted 45-second long scene of Lily Rose Depp choking herself and getting all lonely hands over Tedros. I don't believe you.
Just felt way out of left field and just left me thinking, okay, well, that happens. Anyway, in our next scene, which I actually can show you, Talia from Vanity Fair is back, and she has just asked Jocelyn a tough question about her mom. And Jocelyn's response, of course, is to light a cigarette.
Does your mom live here too?
So smoking out of stress and being under stress all the time may actually explain why she's lit a near infinite number of cigarettes throughout this one episode. And if I had to throw out a guess for a later episode, I have a feeling Tedros is going to get her to replace her smoking habit with something so much worse.
This guy's seen a TV show before.
But for now, I guess it's just cigs for days. Talia pauses the recording so that she and Jocelyn can speak off the record for a second about more sensitive topics. But then Jocelyn just immediately unpauses the recording.
I'm sorry, was there a question?
I like this scene a lot. In fact, it might actually be my favorite scene in the whole episode, right?
That's pretty sad considering the scene is once again two people just sitting down and talking. I do agree that in this first episode, when they're having this conversation and she's trying to like tiptoe around certain things so that she can get information out of Jocelyn so she can write a good story, and she pauses the recording to try and like give her this false sense of like comfort to be like, oh, if this is too sensitive, this can be off the record. And then Jocelyn immediately like does the record. Like, okay, I like that part, but also can something please happen?
Right, because now we've got cigarette context, we've got Jocelyn's unwillingness to face her emotions. I feel like we're finally seeing something interesting about this character, and it's just a shame that it didn't happen until 36 minutes into the episode. Talia even shifts gears and tries to ask questions about the leaked photo, but Jocelyn wasn't having any of it.
People would tell me that it was important to comment on something publicly, but now I just know that I'm being hustled.
Now, in the next scene, Joss and Leia are watching Basic Instinct while discussing her upcoming single, World Class Sinner.
It's like edgy, but like in a cool way. It's really good.
Leia is going way over.
Leia is trying to glaze the ever-loving life out of this mid-ass song that we all just heard.
But like in a cool way. It's really good.
Leia is going way overboard with the praise, and even Jocelyn is not buying it because she realizes the lyrics are just embarrassing.
Baby, you better have a bank account if you want to see what I'm about.
I do have to agree that I'm just a freak, yeah, is not really the lyrical genius that Leia is acting like it is. And so after having a frustrating conversation in which Jocelyn is trying to talk seriously about her music, but Leia is being super superficial, Joss brings up the last person she's had a good music conversation with.
I think I'm gonna invite Tedros over.
The brat tail club guy.
Leia's like, not him. And she gives her reason why, which results in this absolute gem of dialogue that I'm gonna play for you right here.
He's so rapey.
Yeah, I kind of like that about him.
What a masterpiece. Now,
Yeah, I kind of like that about him.
Right here.
He's so rapey.
Yeah, I kind of like that about him.
Some dudes wrote this show, by the way. I feel like... What am I saying? Do I have to say it? I don't have to say it. So some dudes wrote this show, and they somehow thought that these two girls having like a clearly candid and open and honest conversation about why you should or shouldn't invite a guy over. One of them is like, he strikes me as the type of guy that would ignore consent and take advantage of you in a sexual capacity. And the lead character is like, I appreciate that aspect of him. And I feel like I don't have to go into any more detail about why, like, whoever wrote that line of dialogue should be tased repeatedly. Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand why anybody would think that's, like, good. Why? Just why?
What a masterpiece. Now, I surely hope this goes without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. A bunch of guys creating this female character who says she likes rapey vibes and is clearly just very serious based off the fact that she's going to invite the creepiest guy from the club into her home is really gross. I would go so far as to say it's super gross, extra gross even. And in this moment, I think I understand where the critics are coming from, because like,
how did The Weeknd not get roasted for this? He did, and he still is, and it's part of the reason why so many people warned me not to even give the Hurry Up Tomorrow movie a try. I should have listened.
like, despite all of this, it's also just not a very good show. Shows can be problematic and wrong and bad and honestly still very interesting to watch. But this is just, everything is so cheap. Like, immediately after that nonsense, they show this really obvious foreshadowing via the characters on the TV screen.
He falls for the wrong woman.
What happens?
She kills him.
Like, come on. Anyways, Jocelyn doesn't.
Imagine watching a show of people watching a show that's foretelling what's going to happen to them in the show as they watch the show. Sickening.
Invite Tedros over, and he shows up in what is probably the most annoying character entrance scene I have ever seen, maybe. I think the squeaking gate sound knocked a...
I'm not gonna lie. This had me cracking up when I first watched it. Yo, why does he pop up like that? Why is the gate squeaking like that? I think it's supposed to be intimidating, dude. I've been laughing so hard.
Scene I have ever seen, maybe. I think the squeaking gate sound knocked a solid hour and a half off of my lifespan. So Leia goes to let Tedros in, and he just immediately kisses her, which is extremely just really painful to watch. The way she leans back actually hurt my soul.
Thank you for that.
It's doubly gross when you consider the fact that she specifically doesn't like him because...
It's literally so crazy. We just watched this girl say, you probably shouldn't invite him over. He seems kind of grapey. She invites him over anyways. She lets him in. He immediately lays one on her. Like, sister, stab him.
She thinks he's the kind of person who would violate consent. Also, and this is not as bad, but it's very close. This man looks an absolute mess. Why is the Weeknd out here looking like Party City Count Dracula?
Why is he's dressed like an entry-level Sith Lord? I don't get it.
Why is the Weeknd out here looking like Party City Count Dracula? Who's gonna tell him that there's already a vampire Weeknd and they've been making music since he was a kid? Out here trying to look like Morpheus, but you look like Morbius. Who told you this was okay? The same person who told you your hair was okay?
Ah, look at the top of his head.
It don't move.
Anyway, after sniffing Jocelyn's couch pillow and doing a bit of coke, no, I'm not kidding about either of those things, Tedros practices his greetings for Jocelyn in the mirror.
Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel.
Each attempt...
This feels like real. Like, I feel like the Weeknd would actually do this. That's why, like, this show didn't just do so much damage to people's capacity to believe in him as a filmmaker and TV show writer and actor, but, like, he just doesn't strike me as the type of dude that wouldn't practice his greeting before trying to come onto a chick. I'm not gonna hold you.
Jocelyn in the mirror.
Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel.
Each attempt was awful, but then the real version is somehow worse than all three of them combined.
Hello, Angel.
You call all the girls Angel?
Just you.
It's almost like Hello Angel is The Weeknd and Sam Levinson's paltry answer to Are You Lost, Baby Girl?
Are you lost, baby girl?
But I guess it falls short since one of them is 365 days and the other is only The Weeknd. Now Tedros and Jocelyn drink a bunch of alcohol while the absurdly loud backing track is just blaring in the distance.
Look me in the eyes.
Cheers. Cheers.
That's not even background music at this.
Yo, okay. Another thing that I noticed, I don't know what it is about. Yes, I do. It's simply incompetence. I remember watching the show, and I remember watching this video about the show, and I cannot stress to you enough how much louder the music is than what's happening, but either have the music be the track for the scene, for the montage, or have it, like, low enough to where you can still hear what's going on. It's mixed bad, which is ironic, because the Weeknd's music is mixed perfectly, but his television shows are mixed awfully, and it's crazy because Hurry Up Tomorrow also has like montage kind of scenes, and they're also incredibly poorly executed. Like, why don't you know how to shoot a show, how to shoot a piece of media? I'm begging you.
distance.
Look me in the eyes.
Cheers. Cheers.
That's not even background music at this point. That's just foreground music. And can someone please stop this man from making these expressions? Like, he is a menace.
Sin City was a savior.
Anyway, the conversation goes back to music, and Jocelyn reveals why she's talking to Tedros about it in the first place.
This is such a fascinating comment. Hold on. Yo, no offense, bro. Love your shit, but you sound so much skinnier. Been watching you forever. Thought you was tops 160. Look, I've been working on a little, you know, I'm really out here. Like, I'm putting in the work, you know? Like, I'm not trying to be a little guy. I don't want to be a little guy forever. You know, I gotta work with what I got. Also, this is Derapy Yaps Live the Idol edition. This is not America's Next Top Model, okay? You don't have to come in here and be like, what's this guy look like? What does ours look like? Odd, but, you know, welcome. Please subscribe.
And you trust me?
I just think you're enough of an ass that you might tell me the truth.
Now, I know what you're thinking. It's been too long since I've heard Jocelyn sing, "I'm just a freak, yeah."
I'm just a freak, yeah.
After playing her song for Tedros, he criticizes her vocal performance, saying, and I quote, actually, I'm not going to quote this. I'm just going to let him say it.
If you're gonna sing a song called I'm a Freak, you should at least sing it like you know how to
This man...
This is just the Weeknd. I just think that this is the Weeknd. I don't actually think he's acting. I think he's just being the Weeknd right now. It's so crazy to have the Weeknd be on a show about pop music, acting like he's not the Weeknd, but then giving advice on the type of music that he makes to a pop artist, even though he is the Weeknd, but he's not the Weeknd. Like, I don't feel like it's breaking my brain every time the Weeknd has a conversation about music that feels like opinions that he actually holds outside of the show. It's just the Weeknd getting his takes off and using the Idol as his platform. Buddy, I know this is gonna sound crazy coming from me, but start a podcast. You don't have to make mediocre movies and TV if you just want to yap about your opinions on music and what it's good for. You don't have to make this trash television. You can just get on a podcast. You don't even have to start your own. You know how many people would love to have the Weeknd come on to their show and talk about pop music and how it works? Get out of the business. You're pissing me off. I would rather compete with you as a fellow podcaster than continue to have to suffer through these endeavors. A Weeknd podcast would probably be the end of his career, though, to be fair.
Him say it.
If you're gonna sing a song called I'm a Freak, you should at least sing it like you know how to
This man is so unserious. He then says, "Do you trust me?" And she says, "No." Then he just proceeds to take her robe, cover her head completely with it, and then tie it around her neck. Then pulls out a knife and cuts a hole where her mouth is. And then says, and you are never going to guess this. He then says,
"Oh, you can sing."
Roll credits. 54 minutes of my life that I will never, ever, ever get back.
I know that you all do not believe that that was actually the entire episode, but that was it. Let me just quickly recap for you what just happened. Look at D'Angelo. What a sweet kid. I love this guy. Just to recap the first episode of the Idol television show, okay? We have... It opens with pop star Jocelyn fake crying, I think, doing a photo shoot, locking a dude in the bathroom because he's like trying to make sure that she's comfortable on set. If she wants to expose more of her body during the photo shoot, then, you know, there's a process that needs to be done. They lock him in the bathroom, okay? Then they find out that there's an explicit photo of her face covered in Krabby Patty's secret sauce, okay? They find out that that's trending on Twitter. She finds out that it's trending. She doesn't even care. Then she does some dance rehearsal for a music video. Then she goes to a club, meets the Weeknd, who's playing Tedros. He's the worst guy ever, okay? He basically sexually harasses her friend, He comes over, tries to give her advice about music, which is incredibly ironic because she's supposed to be the pop star, not him. He basically gives talking points about how The Weeknd feels about music. Then he says, "Do you trust me?" She says no. He literally wraps her head in a blanket. I thought at this point he was about to snatch her soul. I thought she was getting killed off in the first episode. He cuts a hole in it like it's a Halloween costume. And he's like, "Now you can sing." Also, she like touched herself to the thought of him for some reason, even though he's the most repulsive man in the history of modern media. That was the whole episode. Nothing actually really happened, okay? It's just a weird platform for The Weeknd to get his takes off.
In this recap, but worry not, because episode 2 of The Idol has plenty of terrible to go around. So this episode opens with Jocelyn's team waiting around to hear her newly updated single that Tedros helped her work on.
So where we left off in episode 1 is that in order for her to have a better version of "I'm just a freak, yeah, I know you want it bad," Tedros had to like choke her out or something, or like to threaten to stab her, or like end her bloodline or whatever. And now she has a new version of this single that she wants to share with her team. Here we go, episode 2.
Jocelyn says she's found her new sound.
What about the sound we created for her?
While they wait, Jocelyn's managers are trying to explain that she's been unstable lately due to her mother's passing, but Nikki thinks that this is not an excuse because, and I quote,
People die. All the time.
"Yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?" This is a line.
Matthew, in case you didn't know, people die all the time. I mean, come on, let's get real.
Matched only by classics such as "People Die If They Are Killed" and
Everyone who lives in this world has a life.
Anyway, Jocelyn shows up to play her new song and oof. It's not good, y'all. She tried to make the song sound more
It's even worse. It's even worse.
suggestive, but I'm just gonna suggest a career other than music because nobody is feeling this. Well, nobody except Jocelyn, I guess. Now, the team's reactions are mixed, but Nikki has the ultimate say, and she is not having it.
This is something that like no one's doing. Nobody sounds like
there's
this.
a reason no one is doing this.
If you've got me agreeing with the same lady who said people die all the time and mental illness is sexy, then you know the song is bad. So after Nikki shoots it down,
I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the coldest lines of the whole show. Like, D'Angelo glossed over it, I will not. I love how Jocelyn pops out and she's like, "You don't understand, nobody's making music like this." And she said, "There's a reason nobody's making music like this, little buddy." Golly!
since the label has already spent a ton of money on the single and its upcoming music video, Jocelyn threatens a very risky move.
That's fine, I'll release it myself.
Wait, baby, no.
Now Nikki's really mad, and she basically tells Jocelyn she has.
They said, "Wait, baby, no. This reminds me of her saying like, "Oh, if you guys don't like it, I'll just release it myself." I know of a certain Canadian that was having issues with his label and people consuming his music, and he decided, you know what if I just release my music over here, like on this Finsta? And did it chart? Not really. Did people like it? Not so much. Not a great move. I'm not gonna lie.
There's no choice but to do what the label says because she cost them so much money due to the cancellation of her tour after her psychotic break after her mother passed away.
Whether you like it or not, you are going for that ride.
Now, that's obviously a lot for anybody.
Also, this is another example of this show alluding to something that probably would make for an interesting television show, but continues to tell us about the psychotic break rather than show us any evidence of it actually happening.
To go through, so Haim goes to console her.
Didn't realize how hard this was going to be without her.
When I lost my mother, I was a wreck for a year.
It's honestly a really sweet scene.
You know what I believe in? You.
Then the show immediately cuts to a scene in which Jocelyn chokes herself while touching herself while fantasizing about her time last night with Tedros. Again.
Oh my god, they did it again? Also, the transitions are not only like jarring visually, but also like narratively. So you're telling me that she is in this back and forth with her team about changing her sound. She has this really actually wholesome and nice conversation with this old dude like, yeah, when my mom died, it broke me up for a year. And then we immediately get back into lonely hand behavior over the rat tail guy. The show is a joke.
While touching herself.
You know what I believe in?
Stop punching.
You.
Then the show immediately cuts to a scene in which Jocelyn chokes herself while touching herself while fantasizing about her time last night with Tedros. Again, this literally happened in the first episode as well, but it felt even more out of place here because we went from this really touching scene to, well, another touching scene, I guess. After this, she decides to call Tedros, who has been ignoring her texts all day. And here we get pretty much everything wrong with the idol in one shot, from the Weeknd's terrible acting to Tedros's stupid rat tail, which is being braided as we speak.
I'm literally about to sleep and then I realized my phone was on silent all day.
Anyway, Tedros suggests that Jocelyn ditches her team entirely since they won't let her drop that terrible remix that they made.
Maybe you need a new team. You should be surrounded by people who believe in you.
But nevertheless, Jocelyn continues to prepare until her big day arrives, the music video shoot. But from the moment she arrives, she feels like the vibes are off, starting with the set design.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the anxiety kicks in heavy on this scene. Also, it's so interesting to, hey, what kind of toppings do you get on your pizza? I'm an extremely basic person. It's either pepperoni or Italian sausage. I do like to go kind of crazy with the cheese if I can. If I can get like some stuffed crust or something with some cheese in it, like I'm a big cheese guy, but I don't go crazy with the pizza toppings.
I just feel like it's like really ironic, like in a way that like the fans are not gonna understand.
We also find out that Jocelyn was over 3 hours late due to a really unfortunate reason.
She was in a makeup trailer. They were having to airbrush cuts on her inner thighs.
She's also being hypercritical of her own performance, so she runs through a ton of takes.
Sorry, it's just like a first take. I know it'll be better next time.
Also, another like really fantastic thing that this show does, huge trigger warning, by the way. Trigger warning for self-harm, trigger warning. This show just very casually brings up the fact that she was doing like a little Dark Knight Joker work on her own body prior to this music video shoot scene. And it's just really fascinating how they literally never bring this up again in the show. They're just like, oh yeah, she's 3 hours late because of this self-mutilation. But anyways, here we go. She's smoking a cigarette again and she feels like the vibes are off. Like, the show is not serious. It brings up extremely like hardcore topics and then just abandons them out of nowhere and just never addresses them again. It's absurd.
It's brilliant. I mean, it looks great. No, trust me, it'll be better.
And at this point, people are starting to get exasperated with her because she keeps shooting down perfectly decent takes.
I don't think it's a bad thing to push for something that matters. Can we just do one more? I really all right, one more, guys.
It all starts getting really tense. Like, Jocelyn is sort of getting manhandled by her well-meaning dancers. She's forgetting to lip sync to her own song. And she's even getting outdanced by her own backup dancer, Diane, which Nikki takes notice of.
Diane? Why? She's out dancing everybody. Does she sing?
It's all getting so bad that Jocelyn just tries to cancel the day entirely, which Haim warns her not to do because he's worried that the label is then going to turn around and cancel her tour.
You're gonna pull the plug on the tour. I don't want to freak.
It's also really crazy that, look, I'm not going to pretend to know how the music industry works, but the idea that the label was going to cancel her entire tour because they didn't get this music video shoot done doesn't seem all that realistic to me, but I don't know. Maybe the Weeknd's behind the scenes telling them this is how the music industry works. I just feel like you invest a lot of money into like multiple tour dates, and if somebody has a bad day on a set, like I don't think it's the type of thing that like literally ruins the entire tour, but who am I? You know, I just be yapping.
You out.
And you know what? At this point, without realizing it, I started feeling sorry for Jocelyn for the first time watching this show. I mean, sure, this character is a mega rich pop star complaining about a music video shoot, but honestly, the actress Lily Rose Depp was doing a fantastic job of showing that this is also a person who has recently gone through grief, is experiencing a bunch of mental problems, and is just trying their best to get back to work. Meanwhile, Haim and Destiny have been looking into Tedros, and they find out that he's even shadier than he seems.
His last place of residency was Hawaii. And then after that, he doesn't seem to exist.
Since she's met him, Haim asks Leia to describe Tedros, which results in a scenario that is actually mildly funny, I won't lie.
He's a person of color. Yeah.
If you say he's black, you can say black. You're allowed to say black.
You are, in fact, allowed to say black.
I will say that for the record, when I was watching this show, I think that the single best set of scenes surrounds this music video shoot in episode 2, like there's some really tense, powerful moments. Again, it's all relative because there's still not really all that much happening in the show. It's like now she's just stressed out over the music video shoot, and also she's like self-harming, and they're not really going to address that at all in any meaningful way. But there is a point where well, we'll get there. There's like a really powerful point in this scene, and I feel like if they focused more on the direct effects that her dealing with grief are having on her ability to produce music, then the show would be good. But they're not going to do that because The Weeknd wants to do some like weird shit.
Anyway, this is where we see Haim and Destiny's attitudes towards Jocelyn in private, and honestly, they're pretty protective of her. In fact, it almost seems like they might even have her best interests at heart.
Our mother's gone now, so now we are new parents.
Okay, no.
That's what we promised.
Right.
But amid all this chaos, Nikki pulls Diane aside and realizes that she can sing as well as dance.
Touch me anywhere, ball and chain.
Okay, yeah.
And Nikki is so pleased with this information that she actually has Diane go record Jocelyn's own song off screen. So now we've got this intrigue where it's like, are they going to try to replace Jocelyn in her own music video? Meanwhile, Jocelyn herself is going through it, bruh.
I'm sorry, you guys. I really got to get this right.
But then the stars align and she actually gets it right. Like, she nails the choreography, she nails the lip sync. She pretty much just gives a flawless performance, only to find out that the main camera malfunctioned and therefore none of that performance can actually be used.
We gotta go again. Right away, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, at this point in the show, I was like, oh, wait a second, this might actually be a good show. Like, one of the better pieces of writing that happened in the show, they show the entire music video shot, they show all the choreography, and it's very clear that she's like absolutely nailed it. And then they're like, oh, camera was off. We didn't record it. I was like, oh no! I was like, oh man, they might have actually kind of pulled me back into this show because she's very clearly going through it in a very real way, and you're getting multiple perspectives of different people watching her downfall happen in real time. They're talking about canceling the tour. There are multiple main characters that are talking about how it's their responsibility to take care of her after her mother's passing. They've like set up a couple things about how she's about to have her spot taken. They kind of talk a little bit more about her mother's about how her mother's passing is affecting her, and you're like, oh wow, I might actually be watching a real television show here. But just you wait.
At this point, I was legitimately sad. Like, Jocelyn is actually bleeding and bruised on like her feet from the shoes and her legs from where she was getting grabbed by the dancers. And she's so out of it mentally that she actually calls for her mother.
Mom?
What's up, Joe? What?
Mom?
Listen, I've had a lot of fun picking on the show, but I just want to make one thing clear. This scene and Lily Rose Depp's acting was honestly really good.
All over her face. Oh, man.
Josh,
Like, it took an episode and a half, but well, this right here, to me anyway, is actually good television. And it's legitimately heartbreaking.
You didn't just go for your mom.
My mom died last year.
It all got so bad that even Nikki, of all people, realized that they have to stop shooting for the day.
I need you to go home and get some sleep. I really, really want to go tomorrow.
But lest you think she's too concerned about Jocelyn, she may have just said that. That way she could get her out of the way and have Diane replace her in the music video shoot.
Robin! Oh, great, thanks. Will you go get Diane, bring her here? Thanks so much.
And in this moment, I kid you not, I feel like the show was actually working perfectly. Like, I saw the potential. All of the emotions were emotional.
I also had like a similar vibe. I was like, I don't really understand how the first episode, so much of nothing can happen, and then in the second episode, for like the first 15 to 20 minutes, like you actually have a good television show. But then I forgot that The Weeknd is one of the main characters in the show, and we haven't seen him yet this episode. So just you wait.
I guess this new conflict of Jocelyn versus Diane is actually interesting to me. But unfortunately, this is also the part where I realized that despite this like glimpse of hope, this show was never actually going to reach its full potential. And that is because of their incessant need to show you-know-who during this scene.
Star.
So in this scene, which is supposed to mirror Jocelyn's, Tedros is doing this bizarre dance.
So what you're telling me to do is just skip to episode 2? Honestly, yeah. But also, stick around because I promise you, I think the show might have just peaked.
Dance rehearsal with Isaac, the guy Leia met at the club. It's bizarre. Isaac's got a shot collar on. It's dark and gritty or whatever. But honestly, it doesn't matter. None of this matters because I do not care about Tedros at all. That was a triple negative, and it was still not strong enough to show my utter lack of care for this character and everything associated with him. Even beyond the Weeknd's unacceptable acting, Tedros as a character is just so wholly unnecessary that the only time the show got good for half a second was when I completely forgot he was there. But trust me, the show is not going to let us forget, because even though we have all this decent plot over here, the entire second half of the episode revolves around him. So after
Awful. Just absolutely unforgivable. Imagine knowing that you have a great television show. Imagine shooting great scenes with great performances, and then the Weeknd shows up and he's like, hey, hold on. It's my time. It's my time to shine. I'm a motherfucking star.
After another pep talk with Jocelyn and Haim, we find out that Diane and Tedros actually know each other. Like, know each other.
So,
She better than me.
Baby, nobody.
The second this scene happened, I was like, this show is cooked. You're telling me that the Weeknd, Tedros simultaneously has a relationship with this girl that they're saying might replace her? You're telling me that the Weeknd planned all of this? Alright, bro. Okay.
Know each other.
So,
She better than me.
Baby, nobody's a better than you.
Ew. Anyway, as it turns out, Diane bringing Jocelyn to the club in the first episode was no coincidence. Diane appears to be completely under Tedros' control, and it's even implied that he would take whatever money she makes if Nikki winds up giving her a record deal.
Jocelyn's label.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I can finally get that return on you.
So at this point...
So apparently, like, he is in charge of her? Like, what did he initially invest in this girl that's supposed to take Jocelyn's spot? Like, why does she owe him money? If she's a talented singer and dancer in her own right, why does she even need the Tedros character? Like, I don't really understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It's not portrayed in a way that's meant for the audience to get it. How did he get her in a position to be Jocelyn's backup dancer? How would he know that Jocelyn was going to crash out and give this girl the opportunity to get Jocelyn's spot? Like, there's no prep for that. There's no reason to know why that's happening.
There are 16 and a half minutes left in this episode, and let me tell you right now, I hated all 16 and a half of them. See, Tedros and his freaky friends show up at Jocelyn's house after she invites him.
This is Chloe.
thank you.
I'm Isaac.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Also, the timing of this doesn't make any sense because she just had like the worst day ever. They had to cancel the music shoot. She has like physical injuries she sustained, as well as like legitimately had a mental breakdown in the presence of everybody that she was working with. But then she invites the worst people alive over. Why?
Invites him.
This is Chloe.
Thank you.
I'm Isaac.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Isaac runs off to find Leia, who is rightfully skeeved out by the fact that he knows Tedros.
Of course I know Tedros. Everyone knows Tedros. But I want to know you.
But of course, she totally ignores her better judgment because she finds him attractive. And then everybody dances together as a song from The Weeknd plays in the background.
It's just The Weeknd promoting his own music in his own show.
Something about hearing The Weeknd singing in the background while seeing him on screen play a character who doesn't sing just really took me out of the moment. And that,
yeah, also, there is literally no way to immerse yourself in the show when you're I cannot stress this enough how dumb this is. The Weeknd is in the show playing not The Weeknd, but The Weeknd's music is playing while you're seeing The Weeknd, but it's not The Weeknd. So it also implies that in the show, they're listening to The Weeknd. So In their universe, does The Weeknd exist? And he just looks exactly like Tedros? Like, why not just pick any other music besides The Weeknd's? Like, why would you do that to the show? It's impossible to be invested in something like that. Like, it's crazy, right? It would be like, yo, it would be Tedros, my evil twin. It would be like if you're watching the Joker 2 movie and and Lee, like Harley, is listening to Lady Gaga's music on her way to go see the Joker. Like, bitch, that's you. Like, what? It's just such a bad artistic choice. Just use anybody else's music.
That's saying something, considering the fact that I wasn't really in the moment to begin with. Honestly, I was just waiting for this episode to end, and I figured that was about to happen because this sort of seemed like it would be the last scene, but no, instead, all of the characters do coke, and then we get this nearly 5-minute long sex scene. Isaac and Leia run off to a bedroom to do their thing. Tedros and Jocelyn are going at it, and
5-minute long sex scene is just unforgivable. Why? It just feels like The Weeknd is just casting himself to just touch up on Johnny Depp's kid. It's weird. It's not necessary. Nobody asked for it.
in a different room. Chloe is watching them from a corner of that room without Jocelyn knowing, which is really creepy. But the worst part of all, by far, was the dialogue. Like, the dialogue during this scene is just, oh man.
I want to grab you by the ass while I suffocate you with my.
Let's just say if I had gone my entire life without hearing Tedros say, "Imagine my fat tongue."
I cannot stress to you enough how excruciating of a sex scene it was. I can't even repeat it because I'm not trying to get clipped. D'Angelo is more brave than me. The Weeknd really allowed himself to be on TV talking about a fat tongue. Nurse!
Or make that throat wet. I think I would have been fine. But even those lines pale in comparison to this absolute gem. And by absolute gem, I mean, I wish I didn't understand English.
Judge that tiny little.
And
Matthew, quick question. Why is the show even called The Idol? Like, what is that even about? What is the point? Did y'all ever see that meme where somebody would share a random clip? It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my... Somebody will share a random out of context clip from The Boys and be like, what is this show even about? And that's what I feel like watching clips from The Idol. Because what are we even doing? Also...
Unless you think I was exaggerating about this scene being almost 5 minutes long, upon editing, I can confirm that this went on for 4 minutes and 45 seconds. It revealed
4 minute and 45 second sex scene is nuts. It's not even that kind of show. It's just The Weeknd using television as an excuse to get freaky. That's it. That's all it is.
Absolutely nothing about the plot. It revealed absolutely nothing about the characters. Like, if there is a level beyond pointless, that is what the scene is. Anyway, after what was definitively the cringiest bedroom scene I've ever seen in my entire life, Tedros offers to help Jocelyn write 3 songs in 2 weeks to appease her label. But
I would just like to reiterate again, you have a guy that's played by The Weeknd, but isn't The Weeknd, helping a pop star write music. How am I supposed to believe any of this? He would have been better off just playing himself in the show.
Follows that up with a very unsurprising suggestion.
I mean, it'd be easier if I moved in. Yeah.
And Jocelyn, of course, agrees to this because plot. So then the episode actually ends with everyone sitting around the piano and singing a song with definitely not foreshadowing at all lyrics.
It breaks my mother's heart.
It's a decent ending scene, but I don't think it needed to be nearly 3 minutes long. But
Almost 5-minute sex scene followed by a 3-minute uninterrupted scene of all these people singing together. Is The Weeknd singing with them? I'm sorry, Tedros. Imagine Tedros jumping in on a karaoke and they're like, holy fuck, he sounds like The Weeknd. Why are they singing together? And what kind of cult shit is this is a great question. What? Why? Why? Who? Why?
Truly, what would the idol be if not for its long drawn out scenes? But yeah, that's episode 2, everyone. Yay. I can officially say that, like, the critics were right.
We're 40% through the show and it's not good.
The second half of this episode was borderline unwatchable. And seeing as people were calling this one of the worst scenes of all time, you'll never guess who decided to step up and defend it. The Weeknd isn't trying to seduce you with his Tedros performance in the—
Oh, here we go. Here we go. One thing that I never knew that I respected greatly about many artists is that no matter how much people don't like their art, they never publicize how they feel about you not liking their work. That's why it was so jarring when I found out that Certified Lawyer Boy personally hit up Anthony Fantano and was like, your existence is a light one. Like, you're insecure and you're pathetic. Like, imagine me. Imagine Joe Rogan coming out and being like, people don't like the podcast. And you know what? If you don't like the podcast, well, screw you, man. It's like, dude, just do the show. Do you not have enough money? Are you not secure enough in yourself to just put the stuff out and then just go do something else? Like, The Weeknd coming out and explaining like what the show was meant to be and like complaining about people not liking it is so pathetic, bro. Get in the booth. Get back in the studio.
Idol. If you felt uncomfortable or grossed out, then that's a good thing, he says. So in this GQ article, which is so defensive that honestly Tedros could have written it himself, The Weeknd has this to say about the show. It's definitely shaken up the culture for sure. We knew
this show did not shake up the culture. He is, first of all, look, me personally, I'm a big fan of glazing things that deserve it. Like, I've listened back to episodes of my own podcast and been like, wow, my editor was cooking here, or oh, that was a funny bit, okay? But I would never say something as galling as, yeah, we definitely shook up the culture. Bro, shut up.
Knew we were making something dark and controversial, but true to what we want to say. And yet, something tells me the culture—
He's ending the Weeknd persona and becoming Tedros in real life.
remains fairly unshaken by the idol. Like, being true to what you want to say doesn't seem that hard when you are actually not saying anything at all. Anyway, he goes on to make the obvious point that we're not actually supposed to find Tedros hot during that scene, but that does nothing to change.
Do you know how crazy it is? Do you know how actually crazy? It feels like some level of gaslighting to be like, oh, if you don't like Tedros, you know you're not supposed to, right? Brother, who would like him? Breaking news to nobody. You know you're not supposed to like Tedros. Like, you didn't have to tell us that, bud. You didn't have to tell us that. We know.
The fact that that was one of the worst viewing experiences I've ever had to turn into content. But in the name of content, we will now watch episode 3 as well. But let's just say everything we just watched pales in comparison to what's about to go down. So episode 3 immediately—
oh my God, it gets worse.
Opens with a shot of Jocelyn's bare chest, because how else would we know she's in bed? You literally can't even see her face. Like, it's completely obscured by shadow, which I feel like is the opposite of how these things are usually filmed. But alas.
Get up. Let's go shopping.
If I woke up and saw this man staring back at me, I think I would just go back to sleep, but like forever this time. Anyway, Leia drives the two to go shopping as Tedros goes down on Jocelyn in the back seat of their extremely open convertible, while yet another—
This is not a real show. I don't think anybody some aspect of television and media is that, what up, nerds? Dre Beauvoir in the building. You're supposed to be able to relate to the characters in some possible way. Nobody is going down on another human being in the back seat of an open convertible in broad daylight, bro. That's just not happening.
Jocelyn in the back seat of their extremely open convertible, while yet another song from The Weeknd blares in the background. And then Jocelyn gets swarmed by fans as the three of them enter the super high-end clothing shop. And then Jocelyn gets swarmed by fans.
Because in this moment, like when they're shooting this show and they're like, okay, this is a scene where these fans are accosting Jocelyn and they have to pretend like she's not standing next to somebody that's infamous, like infinitely more famous than her. That's like The Weeknd. That's just pretending to be her sidekick. It's crazy.
As the three of them enter the super high-end clothing shop Valentino. We're barely 2 minutes into this episode and I could already tell this is going to be another tough watch. So while Jocelyn is showing—
how many episodes of the show are there? There are only 5, which, by the way, can I just say, a ridiculously short series. How many series are 5 episodes or less? That's how you know that they didn't want to see any more of this shit.
Showing off her outfits, Tedros attempts to intimidate the store clerk for literally looking—
oh, this is about to get so funny. Lock in
Jocelyn's direction, I think.
Let me catch you looking at her again. I'm not. Let me catch you looking at her again.
As if I didn't already have enough reasons to dislike this character. I guess we can add mistreating retail workers to the list. Anyway, while they're doing that, Leia is desperately trying to—
let me catch you looking at her again. Let me catch you looking at her again.
to tell Haim and Destiny about Tedros' increasingly worrying behavior.
I'm really scared. This guy Tedros is just like taking over the house.
At first, Haim thinks Leia means something like criminal, and I have to say, I kind of appreciate his reaction.
Gun. Oh. What does that mean he's taking over the house, Leia?
If Jocelyn was actually in danger, Haim would have been like,
call an ambulance! But not for me.
But Leia explains that it's more of like a psychological thing.
He's taking control of the house, like mentally.
Tedros is trying to make a bunch of decisions without Jocelyn's input, but Leia, like,
he's taking over the house, like mentally. Bro, almost everything that Leia says in this show is like really funny. I'm not gonna lie.
A good friend and assistant, is trying to make sure that Jocelyn has the final say in all of it.
Sure, but I still have to talk to Jocelyn.
To which Tedros responds by being randomly ableist? Question mark.
Are you retarded? What did I just say? I'm running the show now.
Leia's face was definitely—
imagine writing yourself calling somebody that on a TV show. You could just not. you just don't, you know. There are like a million different ways you can write a character being a dick to somebody without calling them that. I don't understand. I don't get it. It couldn't be me.
My face during this scene, like, be so for real right now. We also see Tedros berating her other staff members. Like, he freaks out at Jocelyn's nutritionist / chef for touching her midriff.
Tedros, you don't understand.
Oh, this is the best. You know what? I actually have an interesting take about this scene. It is absurd, obviously, but I do actually have a more like ableist cat. It's a good one. I like that.
See Tedros berating her other staff members. Like, he freaks out at Jocelyn's nutritionist / chef for touching her midriff.
Tedros, you don't understand. He's a—
boundaries.
Even when Jocelyn explains that she was okay with it, he decides not to be. Not to be. Touching her midriff.
Tedros, you don't understand.
He boundaries, I guess, but like if assaulting him wasn't enough, he so much for he was okay with it. He decides not to be.
Yo, I feel like he really slapped the shit out of him. But hey, also, okay, so there's like one really funny line of dialogue in the scene that I forgot. I don't know whether D'Angelo goes over it or not, okay? But he says that I think that like the dude's like a diet, like he's like a nutritionist or something, or like his mom is. And then and the Weeknd, he's like, if my mom was a gynecologist, would you see me sticking my finger in everybody? Which is actually hilarious. I'm pretty sure the line in the show is the guy says that like it's okay for him to touch Jocelyn that way because of like what his mom does for work, which is always crazy. Have you guys ever watched a piece of media where somebody's like, guys, don't worry, my mom was a nurse or my dad is a doctor, and it's like that shit doesn't translate, dude. Like just because you're like, if my dad was in the was in the NBA, I wouldn't be like, yo, throw me a oop. It's like, dude, I'm short. So it's really funny because even though Tedros is being an asshole in this scene, it's like the dude was legitimately like feeling her up. And it was kind of crazy. But she said she was okay with it. So there's just no reason to slap a man in the mouth over this. It's crazy. I'd like to watch the slap again.
Jocelyn's nutritionist / chef for touching her midriff.
Tedros, you don't understand. He's a...
Boundaries.
Even when Jocelyn explains that she was okay with it, he decides not to be. So much for boundaries, I guess. But like, if assaulting him wasn't enough, he then goes on to make Jocelyn fire him on the spot.
Andres, I'm really sorry. I don't know if this is the right fit anymore.
Like, come on, Jocelyn.
Don't.
Look at the way the Weeknd stands there with his hand out. He's like, hello. What's he still doing here? This shit is so ridiculous.
Goes on to make Jocelyn fire him on the spot.
Andres, I'm really sorry. I don't know if this is the right fit anymore.
Like, come on, Jocelyn. Show a little backbone. Lord knows you show everything else on the show. Anyway, the guy in charge of Jocelyn's ticket sales calls Haim to let him know how stressed out he is about her upcoming tour, or potential lack thereof, depending on her mental health.
She's making me have IBS and more blood than a kid at Epstein's Island.
What an absolutely unhinged thing to write.
Who would write such a thing? Why would you say that?
Or potential lack thereof, depending on her mental health.
She's making me have IBS and more blood than a kid at Epstein's Island.
Whoever wrote the show sent him to the gulag. Ban them to the Shadow Realm. What is the joke? So either it was written, which is awful, or it was improv, which is sickening. But there has to be somebody that works on the show that's like, dude, that's just gross. Like, I don't... Why?
What an absolutely unhinged thing to write in a script, let alone to make it all the way to the screen. I'm telling y'all, this third episode was making the first two look like baby's first controversy, but like, we are just getting started. So back at Valentino, because this show thinks that nonlinear storytelling is like a personality trait, Jocelyn asks Tedros why he's so interested in helping her pick out her clothes, to which he, of course, insults her for no reason.
You don't think I have taste?
No, really, no. Nothing more attractive than that, am I right? Jocelyn, though not to be outdone, fires back a retort of her own.
You know what I think it is? I think you're gay.
She called him gay. Get him. Get him. Got him, coach. Man, why would the Weeknd agree to this?
Retort of her own.
You know what I think it is? I think you're gay.
And his reaction to this is so scary. I literally thought he was going to attack Jocelyn like he attacked that guy she fired earlier.
I ain't gay.
There are really men out there who act like being called gay is a fate worse than death. Anyway, I guess the show had to like prove it to us. So in the very next scene, we see Tedros and Jocelyn going at it in public right there in the Valentino changing room. And literally everybody is aware of this, by the way. And you know, if that's not
Hey, yo, look. Telling you, man. Next time my wife and I have any type of dispute, if I feel like I'm being emasculated, if I feel like my manhood's being threatened, I'm gonna look her dead in the eyes and I'm gonna be like, hey, I ain't gay. Get in the bed. Wild. It does not have to be that deep. I feel like The Weeknd is saying a lot about he's saying a lot about himself in this show and how he's portrayed himself. The last thing, like, I just feel like he is legitimately bothered by this. Like, we know The Weeknd has a higher pitch of voice. And I feel like this made its way into the script because it actually upsets him. But who is using gay as an insult in the big 2020s? This show was released in 2023, and The Weeknd really, in this show called The Idol. Who is The Idol, by the way? What does The Idol even mean? I don't even understand. What is the show even about? How are we in a dressing room talking about, I ain't gay? What are we doing? Who does this serve? My face is like D'Angelo's right now. What's going on? What is the meaning of this?
Already enough, which it definitely is. Jocelyn leaves Tedros high and dry in the middle of the act, so he decides to take matters into his own hands, quite literally, in public, in the Valentino changing room. And at this point,
Bro is... The Weeknd allowed a scene in this show where he's whacking his own mole in a public fitting room. Why? What is the show? What is this?
I just wanted to know one thing. Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Anyway, they head back to the house where Haim and Destiny get to see how shady Tedros is firsthand.
What school did you go to? I wasn't the best student, unfortunately.
Now, unlike most characters in this show,
High school dropout.
Haim and Destiny are no dummies, so they pretend to be okay with Tedros so as not to set off any alarm bells.
You two keep doing what you're doing. 3 songs in 2 weeks, yeah? Hits.
They even make Leia think that they're a-okay with everything as well.
I love that guy.
It's amazing.
But the moment they're back in the car,
I think our girl's in trouble.
My grandmother said you never trust a dude with a rat tail.
Now, I know what you're thinking. It sure has been a while since we've seen Tedros go down on Jocelyn in front of other people. So that, of course, happens as Leia just sees them from the living room window. And, you know, as bad as I did feel for Jocelyn in the previous episode, that does nothing to change the fact that she and Tedros are absolutely insufferable together.
I just want to be clear about this. There are 3 separate sex scenes in this one episode. And there was one in the last episode. There was like 2 or 3 in the first episode. Like, y'all are out here just using the premise of this show as an excuse to shoot softcore. And it's very obvious and it's really gross. Sam Levinson, showrunner of Euphoria, has linked up with The Weeknd, and Sam and Friday, Saturday, Sunday are seemingly like in real time exploiting Lily Rose Depp for their own like gross fantasies. It's sickening. The Weeknd more like the Gooner.
Like, it was just straight up getting hard to watch. And this isn't even what I wanted to watch, by the way, because I wanted the show to focus on the plot line with Jocelyn getting replaced by Diane. So imagine how happy I was when they showed a few shots of Diane shooting the music video, but then that was it. Like, there was no dialogue. It was literally just that. It doesn't come back at all in this episode, even once. This show took the one thing that is remotely interesting and used it as filler footage, all while trying to force us to care about its most uninteresting character. I don't always hate it here, but when I do, it's because of stuff like this. Anyway, now it's time for Jocelyn and Tedros to get familiar with each other's teams. So first, Chloe and Jocelyn share a moment talking about her.
I just am constantly, even as I'm listening to D'Angelo recap the show brilliantly, I might add, I keep on waiting for something to happen again, and things just simply aren't happening. They're like, hey, do you remember this like cool concept from the last episode? I mean, we're still not doing it, but like, do you remember?
Her mother's death.
Was it really hard when she died?
Then Xander and Tedros share a moment where Xander expresses frustration with his limited say as Jocelyn's creative director.
At the end of the day, it's whatever the label.
Oh, he's the creative director? I didn't even know who this guy was.
And Jocelyn wants.
Then Jocelyn and Isaac have a moment where he asks her to sing with him and she declines.
No.
If Tedros heard you say that, you'd be in huge trouble.
And I guess the show figured that
If Tedros heard you say no, you'd be in huge trouble.
You're not my dad. Ugly ass fucking dude.
What do you mean if Tedros heard you say that, you'd be in big trouble? What's he gonna do? I guess slap her, like he slapped that dude earlier, but like, oh, you'd be in big trouble. Ooh.
Moment where he asks her to sing with him and she declines.
No.
If Tedros heard you say that, you'd be in huge trouble.
And I guess the show figured that 5 minutes was too long to go without saying something deranged, so we get this exchange.
You're not allowed to say no.
You're not allowed to say no.
You're not allowed to say no? You're not allowed to say no. What do you mean by that?
Yes.
Yeah. The phrase, you're not allowed to say no, has more red flags than a Canadian gift shop. But Tedros' reasoning for why his followers aren't allowed to say no is even creepier.
Some of the most terrible experiences in life can be the most valuable artistically.
So by saying no, you're denying yourself an experience, and bad experiences make good art. And here I was thinking we left the tortured artist trope back in the 1800s.
This is once again the Weeknd just talking about why he's successful. You're not going to convince me that some random show writer, you're not going to convince me that Sam Levinson is out here dropping these gems about how bad experiences turn into great art. These are just Abel Tesfai's opinions that are making its way into this show, and they're stupid and out of context. Like, they don't even apply appropriately. That's like somebody being like, Derek, you should spend all of your time watching bad movies because then you can make podcasts about them. While true and profitable, as proof by Hurry Up Tomorrow movie review, is that really how I want to spend every day? Just consuming terrible things just for content's sake? Does The Weeknd actually believe that's why he's so successful? I would argue it's because the singing is good and the tunes are catchy. I don't think you have to suffer in order to have good music or create good content. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's very, very dumb. Also, The Weeknd isn't playing a pop artist in the show. He's just some guy that runs a club and a cult. It's stupid. The whole show's stupid. The dialogue's stupid. The message is bad.
But just to make sure we really get it, the show's characters then go on to argue that Led Zeppelin singer Robert Plant's son dying at age 5 was actually a good thing because it led Robert Plant to writing a good song. Now, at this point, even Jocelyn's like, hold up. don't you think he would rather still have his son than like a good love song?
He would have chosen his son's life.
And that'd be a pretty big loss for the world.
To be clear, these are real people that we are now talking about. Robert Plant and his unfortunately deceased son. This is a true story.
That's really up. That's like actually up.
Now y'all got me out here agreeing with Jocelyn.
I love how these people are trying to force these trash opinions on the show's main character, and Jocelyn's sitting there with her 814th cigarette, and she's like, "You guys are smoking hot. You gotta be smoking dick to believe this shit. Y'all are puffing on hot Cheetos if you think this shit is real."
And if the writing during the scene was any more on the nose, it would basically just be a screenshot of the script itself.
By losing his son, he was able to write something that saved a lot of people's lives.
Yes.
Anyway, to test just how committed Tedros' followers are to his don't say no mantra, Jocelyn has Isaac kiss another girl who is not Leia, even though she knows that this would hurt Leia's feelings. Have you ever been snaked by a friend and just for the clout they do it again? He actually does it, so Jocelyn tries to push it even further by seeing if he would kiss her. But then literally everyone's like, hold on. I don't think that's a good idea.
Why?
You know Tedros would kill me.
It's okay, so this is stupid because Isaac, who is supposed to be Leia's love interest for reasons that don't exist outside of, like, look at his abs, I guess, or whatever. He's Frank Ocean on steroids, I guess, with a shock collar for reasons that I don't get. Isaac kisses some chick that's not Leia just because, to prove some stupid point. Then Jocelyn's like, well, you should kiss me. Then everybody in the group says no, which is crazy because they all just explained in great detail why everybody should say yes to everything. And this isn't even that big of a deal. It's a kiss. So, like, immediately contradicting their mediocre points. Instantly. The show looks boring. It's more than a look, friend.
So Jocelyn lets it go, and then in the next scene, everyone has a nice big dinner together, like some sort of warped family. And these last couple of scenes are where the episode goes completely downhill, which is actually somewhat impressive when you consider the fact that it's been at rock bottom the entire time. So first, Jocelyn gives a heartfelt toast to these people that she has met literal days ago.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming into my life.
I've had headaches that have lasted longer than her relationship with these characters. And this show is a pretty big cause of them.
To finding your family.
To finding your family.
To finding your family. What have these people actually done for her at all? All they do is hang. Like, they just hang and argue about nonsense. They don't even agree on the stuff they're talking about. Why does she even like these people? They literally have just been... It just feels like super forced. It's like when you start a new job and within a week or two, people start talking to you about how, oh, we're just one big happy family over here. I do not know you niggas. We are not close. We are not friends. Especially these people are freaks. He pulled up and he has been hitting people that you've been working with. Like, he's been making your friends incredibly uncomfortable. Your current team hates him. And she's like, to family. This shit is so stupid.
This is the kind of found family where you might just want to lose them again. Anyway, remember how in the first episode there was this explicit photo of Jocelyn that had leaked? Well, during Tedros and Xander's conversation about Jocelyn's creative direction, Xander had actually suggested that Jocelyn should use it as her album cover. So at the dinner table, they pitched this idea to Jocelyn.
Ew. I completely forgot about that. So, one of the main conflicts in the first episode of the show, which is insane, by the way, is that Jocelyn, main character, pop star, had this photo leak of her where her face was covered in, like, the Krabby Patty secret formula or whatever. They are now considering the idea of her using this leaked image as her cover art for her album, which is just, like, somehow feels like it wouldn't even be legal. I'm not gonna hold you.
Jocelyn, but she is not really feeling it.
I want to be taken seriously.
Why? Tedros tries to push the issue with some flimsy logic about how she has to take risks, but Jocelyn finally stands up to him for once.
Why are you talking to me like I'm, like, new to the music industry? I'm not. You are.
But
Yeah. guy that looks oddly exactly like The Weeknd. Why are you talking to me like you know about music? You don't know shit about fuck. This is so stupid. Her arguing with The Weeknd about how he doesn't know anything about the music industry. It's like, is this supposed to be some kind of joke? What a sick joke.
Tedros pushes back even harder this time.
What was the last song you wrote, Jocelyn?
When's the last song you wrote, Jocelyn? What, do you have ghostwriters like my Canadian op? When's the last time you even wrote a track? When's the last time you wrote a track when I wasn't touching you that you actually liked?
He basically says that she cares too much about what other people think, and that's why her music is superficial. Why don't you just be yourself, he asks.
There's nothing about me that's relatable.
You sure about that?
So Tedros wants her to write about
Are you sure about that?
the darker aspects of her life, including her tumultuous relationship with her mom. Like, the show has implied a couple of times up to this point that Jocelyn's relationship with her mom was like a lot worse than they were letting on, but they haven't gone into detail yet. Tedros was obviously picking up on this vibe as well, so he tries to get Jocelyn to spill the beans.
I don't really feel like talking about it in front of everyone.
Too late.
Pressuring people into discussing painful things that...
You ever been in an argument with somebody and they're like, I don't feel like talking about this right now. And you're like, well, that's too damn bad. Too late, sucker. You better talk about those terrible things that happened to you. Do it. It's too late. Look at The Weeknd's face, dog. You just you just did, loser. Oh, did you just remember the game? You lost. Bro, The Weeknd's like 9 years old.
To spill the beans.
I don't really feel like talking about it in front of everyone.
Too late.
Pressuring
Womp womp. Too bad.
people into discussing painful things that they do not wish to do is definitely not the move, but since Tedros has already shown himself to be controlling in literally every other aspect of her life, why not this one too, I guess?
I don't keep secrets from anyone at this table. I'm not gonna let you keep secrets either.
So after some good old...
But you do keep secrets from people at that table because you literally just admitted to like smashing Jenny from Blackpink and trying to recoup your investment. You're lying. Everybody's lying all the time.
Emotional manipulation, Jocelyn finally divulges the very unfortunate truth that her mother actually used to beat her with a hairbrush, like all over.
Just anywhere people wouldn't notice.
Why'd you do that?
Asking an abuse victim why their abuser decided to abuse them.
Imagine being at a dinner table with like half a dozen people and being like, I was a victim of abuse. And they're like, but why though? Why?
Is obviously demented, but Jocelyn shares that her mother did this to motivate her, aka punish her for making any small mistakes.
She'd do it to help me remember my lines, to remember dance moves.
Oh, she was on a Joe Jackson type beat. That's what we're alluding to, I suppose.
To finish songs.
Jocelyn also said that her mother would just do it for no reason as well. Not that there is a valid reason for this, of course, but this apparently went on for pretty much most of Jocelyn's life.
Until the chemo made her so weak she couldn't lift up a hairbrush anymore.
So here are some valid responses to information like this. That's terrible. I'm sorry you went through this. I hope you're safe now. But instead of that, or anything like that, we get this.
You didn't fight back?
No.
Why not?
What?
Sorry. It's not meant to be funny. It's actually awful. Wait, you're a victim? Wait, you were abused? Why? Wait, you didn't fight back? Why? What are you, dumb? Who? What is the show even about? What is the show even about? What is the show even about? Why? Why? He's like, wait, if she was gonna hit you, why didn't you just like not let her hit you? Why didn't you just box your mom?
This.
You didn't fight back?
No.
Why not?
What? Like, what? Why would you ever ask this? Never mind the fact that Jocelyn was a child for the majority of that time. That's just not a sane question to ask in the first place. But I kid you not, he actually follows it up with an even worse one.
How hard did she hit you, Jocelyn?
Hard.
Why did he say it like this taunting tone? How hard did she hit you, Jocelyn? How do you live with yourself? How does Abel, as a human being, knowing that this exists, how do you sleep at night?
Up with an even worse one.
How hard did she hit you, Jocelyn?
Hard enough to break skin.
It's like the writers just Googled every single thing that you should not say to an abuse victim and wrote it all into the scene. But wait, there's more.
So you miss it?
Getting hit?
The motivation it gave you.
So if why did they hit you? Why didn't you fight back? How hard did they hit you? And do you miss it? Seem like a bit much? Imagine my shock when these were followed up with, do you think it was worth it though?
If you loved the music you were making, would you felt like it was worth it?
And then she says yes. This is one of the worst television shows I've ever watched. But of course, it somehow manages to get worse.
You still got that hairbrush?
Yeah.
You still got that hairbrush? I think that, for the record, Abel, the Weeknd, in case it wasn't clear, you're not supposed to like Tedros, okay? Newsflash, buddy. You're not supposed to like the guy. But he's like so cartoonishly evil that it's like it's almost hard to be upset about because it's so ridiculously unrealistic.
Go get it.
Yep. They went there to help Jocelyn create good art. She seemingly allows him to recreate the trauma that she experienced as a child, all while they play a song from The Weeknd in the background.
This is really gonna hurt.
And then, as the demented icing on top of the demented cake, Jocelyn actually thanks him at the very end of the episode.
Thank you for taking care of me.
Roll credits.
Also, shout out to D'Angelo Wallace for suffering, so that we could enjoy this content. We're almost done, I promise. But I would just like to point out the fact that also the fit here goes absolutely insane. So like such a bold and bright and brave fit. But I just want to take a quick time out just so we can digest what we just witnessed, okay? So after they become family for some reason, even though it's just the most unlikable group of humans of all time, The Weeknd starts poking and prodding, trying to figure out like what Jocelyn's deal with her mom was. Also, if you came in a little late, what do you think of the setup? We're working on some things. We got the Chromacopia box. Pikachu's still in the cut. You know? This cat tower is here for right now, but there's a high likelihood that my cat will get up there and start fucking with that canvas. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to have a better setup. But where we left off, Jocelyn seems to have opted in to allowing The Weeknd's character to like abuse her with the same hairbrush that her mother did before she died of cancer. And I just can't help but wonder, like, what is truly good? What exactly are you supposed to like? A 4 out of 10 setup, no Kendrick posters. Ah, you're right. I mean, this is a Kendrick channel. I know I've been doing a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with Kendrick. Couple movie reviews, couple live shows that are not very Kendrick centric. That's on me. I gotta get back to that. But the show is bad. The show is really bad. I don't really understand why anybody would like it, unless you just like watching people suffer and you enjoy suffering yourself. I don't know how else to describe what we're watching, but Dot needs to make a show. No, he does not. You know, somebody once told me to just keep the main thing the main thing. You know, I'm just but a humble podcaster. I've made a couple fun little raps here and there, but I've never tried to market myself as a rapper. Yes, I'm, you know, the live show thing comes naturally because I went to school for this. I went to school to be on TV and to yap. So, you know, this isn't too far out of my comfort zone. The podcasting, the live yapping. Like this is my place. I'm not going anywhere else. This is what you see is what you get. Kendrick is clearly very good at rapping and songwriting. Stick to that, buddy. I mean, if he does drop something, I'll have to cover it because this is a Kendrick channel. But if it was up to me, he could keep it. The Weeknd show is the prime example of what not to do when you're already an extremely successful artist. Like, why can't it just be good enough to be one of the biggest artists in the world and one of the biggest artists of all time? Why do you also have to make a mediocre television show? Here we go. According to D'Angelo, based on the title of this video, The Weeknd's awful TV show ended early and he's furious. If it was up to me, I wouldn't get these. Here we go. Like the video.
And now, here we are on episode 4. Tedros and Jocelyn are working to get music together to get her tour back on track. Her managers are becoming warier of Tedros than ever, and I'm sure the series will somehow manage to get even worse. So episode 4 opens by showing us that Jocelyn's mansion has basically been turned into Tedros's mansion. There's guards all over the place with guns, and
why are there armed guards at the mansion? Like, I don't even know if there's ever any reason to believe that that's necessary.
we see housekeepers cleaning up the aftermath of crazy parties. And I can't say I blame them. But yeah, while Tedros is out here acting like he owns the place, Destiny has been doing even more digging into his past, and it turns out that Tedros isn't even his real name.
His name is Mauricio Costello Jackson.
The reason
Mauricio Costello Jackson is Tedros' real name.
The reason he's using a fake name is because during his Mauricio days, Tedros apparently racked up the super disturbing history of criminal charges.
Kidnapped his ex-girlfriend, held her hostage for 3 days, tortured her.
And apparently, while he was under trial, even more allegations came out against him, and then he wound up in jail. So Tedros isn't just some sleazy creep. He's like a legitimately dangerous person who has a history of mistreating the people he's in relationships with. And unfortunately, it looks like Jocelyn has fallen right into that trap.
Oh, Tyler had that comedy show with Wolfgang? Loiter Squad. Yeah, I used to watch episodes of that when I was too young to be watching episodes of that. We do have the best Discord. It is incredibly chill. Lots of horror stories about terrible things happening on Discord. Discord gets a bad rap, but I am far too active in our Discord to let any weird shit happen. So it's super safe. You got to be 18 or older though. No shit. No children. No kids. No kids in the Discord.
Seems like he's controlling everything. Like at this point, the man is even canceling her meetings without asking her.
You could cancel that. Cancel that. Not 1 p.m. Cancel that.
Yo, shout out Lord Dampnut for joining the big derps. We have lots of fun in there.
He even cancels a meeting involving Jocelyn and Leia's makeup line, which they've apparently been working on together.
Cancel it.
I don't know if you understand, because this is like an important...
It's more important for you.
And what could be so important that it's worth canceling all your other meetings?
Mike Dean's coming.
Oh my God, it's Mike Dean.
And done. 2 minutes and 4 seconds. That's how long it took for this episode to completely lose me. Which
also... I just want to quickly reiterate, okay? It is crazy to have the real Mike Dean pull up to record, so that means we're operating in a not so fictional universe, because real person Mike Dean has entered the chat. So Mike Dean is supposed to come in and work on music with a guy that is played by The Weeknd but isn't The Weeknd. Mike Dean knows who The Weeknd is because he's Mike Dean. But he's pulling up to a house that's run by a guy that is The Weeknd but isn't The Weeknd. The show is not serious.
I think is a new record. The show is literally getting better at getting worse. For context, Mike Dean is a real person. He's like an actual industry legend when it comes to music production, having produced songs for everyone from Drake to Beyonce. So him showing up in this episode as himself is just incredibly distracting.
Bait used to be believable, but I'm gonna do this anyways. Flashpoint says, don't bother responding to this because I'll be leaving right after sending this message. But your K-bot videos on Drake are really biased, man. You're part of the reason why so many innocents get accused of SA. I don't even know how to respond to that. That's just such a weird thing to say. Also, like the video. K-bot videos is crazy. Anyways.
Like, to be fair,
Dude, we're over here making fun of The Weeknd's TV show. Buddy really pulled up, saw I was live, and was like, your Kendrick videos upset me.
this wouldn't be the first time that someone's played themselves on a television show, obviously. But this is basically like if you made a fictional series about cooking, and then this character named Gordon Ramsay shows up.
This is a great analogy, and we're gonna get back to it. I'm sorry, that kind of threw me off. Yo, shout out Lord Damnut. I love you.
This wouldn't be the first time that someone's played themselves on a television show, obviously. But this is basically like if you made a fictional series about cooking, and then this character named Gordon Ramsay shows up, played by Gordon Ramsay. It's gonna take you out of the moment, which would be fine in like a comedy, but makes no sense here, considering I was just starting to take these new plot developments seriously.
Beautiful house, but the acoustics are garbage.
So after wandering all over Jocelyn's house to find
Beautiful house, but the acoustics
development seriously,
Mike Dean is looking for an adequate place to record, but she already has a home studio. Like, what is this? Is so unserious, dog.
Beautiful house, but the acoustics are garbage.
So after wandering all over Jocelyn's house to find the perfect room to record in, even though she literally has a home studio that's been used in multiple episodes, Tedros, Jocelyn, and Mike get to work on new music, starting with the lyrics.
I like not having to make decisions for myself.
What?
Because I trust you.
So they turn it into a song.
I don't wanna decide things for myself.
I don't want to decide things for myself. You can tell me what to do. I'm not an independent person. I have no autonomy. I don't want to make choices for myself. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Pick things up for me. I hate getting groceries. Please get fruit from me. What? Yo, this is awesome, actually.
They turn it into a song.
I don't wanna decide things for myself on my own.
Meanwhile, while they're creating moody dark pop track number 28,000, Jocelyn's managers are getting just even more worried about Tedros.
I don't think we should kill this motherfucker.
But instead of going that far, they instead decide to observe and see if they can't find any dirt that could get him out of the picture.
Go to the house. You be the eyes and ears. Let me know every detail, okay? I don't care how small.
Sure.
Go to the house.
Bro, I love how she walks in like she just got introduced at WrestleMania. What I would pay to see this woman on screen actually body slam The Weeknd in a physical altercation, the money I would pay to watch this woman walk in and just completely manhandle Tedros Bro, she looks like the actual boss battle.
To observe and see if they can't find any dirt that could get him out of the picture.
Go to the house. You be the eyes and ears. Let me know every detail, okay? I don't care how small.
And considering how weird Tedros and everyone around him is, it doesn't take very long for Destiny to find something creepy. She's barely been in the house for like a minute at this point.
Hi. I'm Chloe.
Now what in The Shining is this? So Destiny responds,
Hey, yo. Imagine walking into a house. You've been there under 5 minutes. You look down the hallway and see this. The gun would go off. This is horrifying. Whose child is this? What is going on?
now what in The Shining is this? So Destiny responds, quite appropriately, I might add.
Hey, Chloe. I'm Destiny.
Bruh, Chloe is so creepy. Like in episode 2, she's watching Tedros and Jocelyn get freaky from the shadows. And then in this episode, she's running after Destiny like some sort of Resident Evil mini boss.
All right.
Destiny is my favorite name.
Anyway, Chloe demonstrates her singing and songwriting abilities for Destiny, which, despite her strange behavior, are actually quite good.
My whole life, I just figured it out.
We also get a little bit of backstory for Chloe as well, like how Tedros took
Everybody here sings, I guess. We're all critics. They're all musicians. What do I even know? Stephen King ad girl.
her in when she used to live on the streets.
I was a heroin addict.
Yo, is this thing on? I was a heroin addict. I was stuck on that dust. Hey! I was playing in the snow. Banger. Banger alert. Banger alert.
We also get a little bit of backstory for Chloe as well, like how Tedros took her in when she used to live on the street. Good.
My whole life, I just figured it out.
We also get a little bit of backstory for Chloe as well, like how Tedros took her in when she used to live on the streets.
I was a heroin addict.
I'm not ashamed to admit that that little
Sign her immediately.
riff lives in my head rent free. Like I'm just sitting there and the thought just intrudes like, I was a heroin addict. But the problem is I've never done heroin. So the lyrics just sort of change to fit whatever
I was chasing that dragon.
situation I'm actually thinking about. Like, I love my children at Walmart. It's very versatile. I also don't have children.
How old are you, Chloe?
So, 18.
Okay, yeah, so speaking of children, Chloe.
Hold on.
18.
How old are you, Chloe?
So, 18.
The show is implying that this girl is underage. So just to be clear, OVO moment. Hold up. Excuse me. Pardon. So this show is implying that definitely not The Weeknd is taking in musicians that are under the age of 18 and they're watching him get freaky with it. Why would you have this in your show? Hi.
Okay, yeah, so speaking of children, Chloe is actually a minor, which is pretty much the worst thing ever because as you'll remember, she was present in a previous episode during a sex scene. Like in that scene, Tedros knew full well that Chloe was not only watching them, but acting out his dirty talk.
This is such a terrible look for The Weeknd. I just don't know why he would do this.
As well. So I guess my main question is why? Why was that in the show? Why did the show want us to watch that? I think the only thing worse than an adult scene with an underage character is one where you don't find out the character is underage until after you watch the scene, which why? And you know, I keep hearing that Sam Levinson, the director of the show,
so we all just witnessed a minor strip naked during that pool scene. Okay, important context, right? So in real life, the girl is obviously over the age of 18. The problem is the show introduces her to us as if she's an adult because she's participating in adult activities. Then retroactively decides, you know, it'll be really sick. Let's lead the viewer to believe that she's actually underage, but she's also not underage. So what is the point even of the scene besides to like unsettle the viewer? Like it's not, it doesn't actually have any use, any purpose. It's just unnecessarily gross. There's some like serious headcanon that I've seen and heard where people are saying that the Tedros character is entirely based off of Drake. And man, if that was the case and this entire show was just a Drake diss, that would be awesome and like revolutionary and impeccable. The problem is that gives The Weeknd far too much credit. He is not capable of executing an idea like that. There is zero shot that was the case. That would once again be the greatest cope ever. See, you guys hate this character and his group of people because it's actually Drake and how he runs business in the music industry. No, no, no. Your show just fucking sucks.
Actually has like a really weird track record involving teenagers like this, but I've never seen Euphoria, so I guess I didn't realize just how bad.
Now, D'Angelo hasn't seen Euphoria, but your old boy, the Derapy guy, certainly has. Euphoria has a similar problem where it's showing people that are in real life adults pretending to be high schoolers doing adult activity. And Drake did produce that show, so but at least the show lets you know up front that they're high schoolers, but it still begs the question, why are we watching them have sex? Like, it's not, this video is so cooked. Whatever, okay? I'm talking about television. What I'm saying is, I don't know why Drake and The Weeknd are producing shows like this for HBO that are putting children in these compromising positions and passing it off to you as some type of artistic endeavor. It's just fucking gross.
It was. Obviously, Chloe is played by an adult, but this character is a child. She acts like a child because she's a child. Like, I would find it weird to not find this weird. Anyway, back in Jocelyn's not studio, Tedros is literally screaming at Leia for just trying to head to the bathroom while he's showing off one of Jocelyn's new tracks.
Shut the up, Leia!
Sorry. He did the thing. He did the thing again. I forgot that there was a scene in this show of him also yelling, shut the fuck up to somebody. That's awesome. He loves that.
The bathroom while he's showing off one of Jocelyn's new tracks.
Shut the up, Leia!
Stop. I was talking to her. She was just responding.
And you know what?
I love Jocelyn literally laughing at him screaming at Leia. Like, buddy, you're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
At this point, if I was Leia, I would just leave. Call me a bad friend, but I would be doing everything within my power.
D'Angelo's talking about how if he was Leia, he would leave. Buddy, why is she still there now? She should have left like 2-3 episodes ago. When The Weeknd, Tedros, Rat Tail, when he pulls up in episode 1 and kisses her immediately without consent right after she opens the door for him, she should have knocked his jewels right there and dipped. He's a freak.
To help her from outside the house. You would not catch me hanging around anybody who talks to me the way this man talks to everybody. Anyway, Destiny shows up to hear the song, and she suggests that Jocelyn try to make her vocal delivery a little more compelling. So we get a repeat of episode 1, where Tedros helps her make her vocal delivery more believable with a little extra stimulation, if you know what I mean. But like this time, for some reason, he does it right in front of everybody. Like, I'm talking third base right in front of my salad. And everybody's just like,
third base right in front of my salad. The scene that he's referring to is basically The Weeknd is visiting Jocelyn's basement head first while she's recording with company. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Like, huh? This show at this point almost feels like a parody
In front of Mike Dean?
of itself. Tedros yells at Leia. Hyman and Destiny freak out over Tedros. Jocelyn and Tedros get freaky. Tedros' friends are creepy. It's like they wrote this 4th episode by feeding the previous 3 into an AI generator.
He's like using her in front of other people like she's not even a human being.
She's not a human being. She's a star.
The show says
She's not a human being. She's a star. Bro, shut up. I don't even have any commentary. The lines are so laughable. The dialogue is so disgusting. The delivery is the opposite of delectable. It's bad.
Her in front of other people like she's not even a human being.
She's not a human being. She's a star.
the show says so much without saying anything at all. Like, the only thing it makes me think more deeply about is why I decided to start watching it in the first place. We get more musical montages, Tedros and Jocelyn being toxic to each other, etc. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it. The entire first half of this episode is nothing but filler. Even the all but abandoned subplot of Diane replacing Jocelyn on her own song comes back up, but
Tedros is the Diet Diddy. That's a bar.
But even that feels like filler at this point.
We see something in you. We want your first song to be world-class center.
Like, things are happening, but nothing's happening. You feel me? Until it does. So this episode picks up in the second half when Tedros overhears Xander singing in the shower. So he decides to camp out in Xander's room until he comes out, which is beyond creepy.
Over futile love.
Boo.
Oh, of course Xander can sing too. Also, why does he sneak up behind him and say boo? What is up with dude?
Which is beyond creepy.
Over futile love.
Boo. Like, it's just a weird scene. And then Tedros, of course, makes it weirder because that's what he does.
What, do you think I was gonna butt you?
What'd he say?
Of course, makes it weirder because that's what he does.
What, do you think I was gonna butt you?
Weeknd, man. Just words that I've never said, like, even jokingly. I've never even thought. Like, what's the play, Mr. Friday, Saturday, Sunday? What is the purpose?
Of course, makes it weirder because that's what he does.
What, do you think I was gonna butt you?
Anyway, Tedros is sort of shocked to hear Xander singing because Jocelyn had told him that Xander had a vocal cord injury a few years back.
Her mom outed you when you were 13. You left the show. You quit singing because you had a...
Oh my god, he's just doing an exposition dump. Yeah, this is making me never want to listen to this dude's music. I truly, after watching this show, I had to take multiple months off from listening to this man's music because all I can think about is the terrible lines and awful plots and horrendous decisions that this show made, and I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't know.
Vocal injury?
Through this exposition dump, we find out that after Jocelyn's mom basically ruined his career even though he was a child, Xander moved in with her and Jocelyn. But Tedros, being the world's worst music manager, is far more interested in getting Xander to sing again.
Why don't you sing anymore? You should really use the gift that God gave you.
Now, I know that this is just a line in the show, but can we talk about it for a second? Because I've actually heard this line in real life all the time, and it's pretty much one of my biggest pet peeves. I feel like creative people, or basically anyone with a hobby, get told this all the time. Like, oh, you have a gift. You owe it to us to use it. People would even tell me this.
I mean, me personally, I do have a God-given gift for yapping, and I truly do not know where the world would be if I was not out here yapping. You know, where would we be without the Derapy podcast and YouTube show. God-given gift of the gab for yapping. It is an absurd thing to say, just in general, though. Like, if you just happen to be good at something, it's like telling tall and naturally athletic people that they need to play basketball. And that's how you get Ben Simmons. You really not about that life, buddy. Just because you're tall and big and quick doesn't mean you should be hooping.
When I was a child, and I used to draw a lot, and it's like, first of all, this gift that you're referring to is literally just practice. I wasn't bitten by a radioactive artist, okay? Like, anybody could do what I do if they spent the same amount of time on it. Secondly, even if I did have some sort of latent ability that others don't, that would not obligate me to use it for the rest of time. Anyway, that was just an aside. The show is not even that deep, but clearly my feelings about this topic are, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk regardless. Anyway, in the next scene...
Also, it is actually insane. This is something that I didn't even really consider. It's like, The Weeknd's character is the worst human being alive, and now he's bringing my God into the equation to try and convince this dude to belt. Blasphemy. Shut up.
Tedros tortures Xander with a shock collar.
Bring him down here! Bring him down! I can't save you! Hold down.
Now you may be wondering, hold up. Did I skip a scene? Did I leave something out? But those are the same things I was wondering as I was watching.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Did I?
Bring him down! I can't save you! Hold down.
Now you may be wondering, hold up. Did I skip a scene?
They're about to electrocute this dude because this is what The Weeknd thinks is a good TV show.
I leave something out? But those are the same things I was wondering as I was watching this. Like, we just hard cut into a torture scene. Destiny had previously mentioned that Tedros does stuff like this, but I guess the show thought that we had to see it, even though we truly did not.
Chloe! Chloe can't save you. Chloe,
I'm sorry. I really like the way that he says that. Chloe! I know it's bad. I know he's about to be tortured for, like, no reason. But, like, just the way that he says that is funny.
Truly did not.
Chloe!
Please, Chloe! I'm sorry. I might not be good. I might not be as good as you thought. I thought that was funny. The way he says it is funny.
Chloe can't save you.
Chloe!
So Tedros's apparent reason for torturing Xander is that Xander betrayed Jocelyn. Basically, Xander told Tedros the real reason that he doesn't sing anymore. Apparently, when they were kids, Jocelyn's mother actually made him sign a contract that he would never sing again, so as...
I'm sorry. You what? Wait.
For kids, Jocelyn's mother actually made him sign a contract that he would never sing again, so as not to...
When he was a kid, Jocelyn's mom made him sign a contract that he would never sing again? What the fuck does that even mean? Is there an instance of this happening in recorded history? Yeah, he was 11 and this woman that's not even his mom made him sign a contract that said, "You cannot sing or else." What? How many children did Jocelyn's mom do this to?
Shine Jocelyn. Which, first of all, I don't think that contracts that legally prevent people from singing are a thing. But secondly, if they are...
I'm sorry, I can't get over that. I'm just imagining Xander in the privacy of his own home singing in the shower one day because he forgets about the contract and he just hears a bang at the front door. FBI, open up! We heard you were singing. We heard you were singing, bro. We heard you were singing. You should have known. You signed that contract. Yo, I'm sorry. I'm almost off this. Does this extend to everywhere he is? Yo, what if he's like driving on the highway and he starts singing along to the radio? Is somebody just gonna wreck his shit? Like, they're gonna call in a SWAT team and run him off the road? You signed that contract, buddy. I'm sorry. This shit is so... Oh, this is so unserious.
are, then can we please send one to Colleen Ballinger? Anyway, Jocelyn outright denied. I don't think that contracts that legally prevent people from singing are a thing. But secondly, if they are, then can we please send one to Colleen Ballinger? Anyway, Jocelyn outright denies all of this, accusing Xander of lying. But it doesn't really seem like he's lying.
The career that I could have had, the life that I could have had.
He's lying.
Xander also says that the reason he never told anyone about Jocelyn's mother mistreating her was because Jocelyn asked him not to. But Jocelyn refutes this claim as well. Honestly, it all just gets very heated.
She controls everything around her, and now she's doing it to you.
I'm gonna be honest though, both Lily Rose Depp and Troye Sivan's acting during this scene was pretty good.
Lying to my face about
I'm not lying, you stupid.
But good acting does nothing to fix the fact that this scene makes absolutely no sense.
I don't even know what's going on.
Up until this point, there has been no, and I mean no, indication that Jocelyn is some sort of evil mastermind. But now, all of a sudden, we're supposed to just believe that Dark Jocelyn exists because
Dark
reasons,
Jocelyn.
I guess. Like, there's been virtually no conflict between Xander and Jocelyn at all. We've barely even seen them talk to each other in the show. But now we're supposed to believe that their relationship is so contentious that she would allow him to be tortured, and he thinks that she ruined his.
I don't know what y'all are talking about, but I'm still going to comment on this. Even if he did make a bad movie, he made one of the best albums of the decade and is a millionaire. Is it really so bad that he made a bad movie? I don't know, man. It's not that bad. I mean, no, for the record, the movie is bad and the show is awful. But, you know, that doesn't take away from the music that he made. I feel like you can hold two ideas in your head at once. The Weeknd has no business near any camera that's not for a music video. He absolutely should not have made such a trash, terrible show, and one of the worst movies I've seen in probably a few years. But the music's still good. I was listening to Dawn FM this morning, actually. I just hate the show.
His life. Where is literally any of this coming from? It honestly felt like the show was just like, you know what's gonna get people talking? Torture. Let's do that. And for better or worse, I guess it worked because here we are talking, but wouldn't you rather have people discuss your show because it's not hot garbage? Like Xander literally went from, hi, I'm Jocelyn's creative director. We don't always see eye to eye, but I'm here for her, to this.
You're more disgusting and depraved than your of a mother.
Hello? And Jocelyn.
How did we get here? This dude hasn't even been like an important character the entire show. Now he's like cursing the name of Jocelyn's dead mother. Like, what is the escalation here?
We don't always see eye to eye, but I'm here for her, to this.
You're more disgusting and depraved than your of a mother.
Hello? And Jocelyn went from, hi, I'm a sad 20-something and I make music, to this.
Shock him again. Shock him again. Again.
Like, where is this coming?
Why does she want him tortured? What did he do to her? Why didn't she express these feelings in the first like 3 to 4 episodes?
From? Anyway, they wind up shocking the man so much that he admits to lying, even though he was obviously just trying to get them to stop shocking him. And then Jocelyn just moves right on to a singing scene. Now, during this scene, we see that Tedros is becoming a bit unstable from all the hard drugs and sleep deprivation.
I feel like you need to get a little bit of...
Oh, wow. You know what's so annoying and fascinating about this? The Weeknd plays himself in the Hurry Up Tomorrow movie, and he's also like feeling the effects of like the constant substance abuse, and he's doing the same thing in the show, and it's just like, how many times is he going to do the same character? I don't know. It's like making fun of Albert Einstein because his first song is bad. I'm just gonna assume that you are a child, and this content probably isn't for you.
Sleep? You're starting to...
I slept. Jocelyn then has this really gross conversation with Destiny where she's basically just an apologist for all of Tedros's past actions.
He choked her. He helped, he just was trying to like fend her off, I think.
Like, Jocelyn, he went to jail. But the worst part is,
It is so crazy how Jocelyn is sitting here trying to act like the Weeknd Tedros. He's like, all he did was it was just a little light choke. It's like, buddy, he's a criminal. Like, what?
all of Tedros's past actions.
He choked her. He held, he just was trying to like fend her off, I think.
Jocelyn, he strangled her. He was lightly pressing his hands against her neck. Let's be serious.
Like, Jocelyn, he went to jail. But the worst part is, she actually is fully aware that he went to jail for several years due to pimping.
They told the cops that he was like their pimp, and then he went to prison for like 6 years.
Anyway, next scene, Tedros convinces Jocelyn to go public with her story of surviving her mother's abuse, but only so she can sell more tour tickets. And then everyone has a big party. Tedros decides to mistreat Leia in front of everyone once again, because this show has like 4 or 5 story beats that it recycles endless.
Why is the Weeknd hitting her with an actual super soaker? This show, if it was simply meant to just be a funny show, would be a really funny show.
Yeah, in front of everyone once again, because this show has like 4 or 5 story beats that it recycles endlessly. But this time, Jocelyn steps in more firmly.
She's my friend. You just like embarrassed her in front of everyone.
Wait, are you actually mad?
Oh, now she cares about her friends all of a sudden. Anyway, this is where things get a little convoluted. Well, more convoluted. So Diane shows up at the party, and Jocelyn finds out via Chloe that Diane brought her to Tedros' club because Tedros told her to. After finding out that Diane basically set her up, Jocelyn then finds out that the label is now trying to give away Jocelyn's song World Class Sinner to Diane. She decides to give Diane her blessing, even though she's obviously shaken up by it.
Why are you crying? I'm really happy for you.
Why are you happy for her? She literally stole your song. I don't get it.
So at this point, Jocelyn is feeling betrayed. Tedros is not who she thought he was. He had this whole plan to get with her, and so she decides to get back at him by inviting her ex, Rob. Rob shows up, which feels extremely out of the blue.
Oh, great. A brand new character. Very deep into the show. Anyways, here's Jenny from Blackpink.
Because out of the previous 3 episodes, I'm pretty sure they've only mentioned him by name once. But anyway, Tedros finds him before Jocelyn does, and he proceeds to play the only card in his deck, aka embarrassing himself, but this time with 20% more homophobia.
What are you, Every actor I know is a Doesn't everybody gotta take it up the to get these roles out here?
Yo, why is the Weeknd being so gross? What actual diet did he?
Homophobia.
What are you, Every actor I know is a Doesn't everybody gotta...
Why is he just throwing these slurs around? Who does it benefit? It's not a joke, so it's not meant to be funny. It's like it's just an excuse to be awful. Is this character that the Weeknd's playing? How do I be a bad person? Look, I recognize he's acting, and I recognize his character's supposed to be bad, so he's acting bad. But there are just better ways to convey that this guy sucks than to just, didn't Kendrick say that F slur on Auntie Diaries? Yeah. He did say it in that one song. You're right. Did you listen to the song though?
Take it up the to get these roles out here?
Imagine talking like this at all, let alone to someone you literally just met. Anyway, Jocelyn takes Rob to her bedroom where he expresses regret over leaving her to star in the superhero movie.
I'm wearing a mask. They could have cast anybody.
He also discusses Jocelyn's mom, saying that he didn't find out about the abuse.
Bruh, you sound super soft. Me? I sound soft? I feel even softer. I use lotion every day.
Until she went public in that video, and that he had no idea it was happening.
I have this image of you giving her a bath. You're always so tender with her.
And I guess that really set the mood, because immediately
Can we please be real?
after that conversation, they just hook up. So, of course, this goes on for like a full 2 minutes because everything in the show happens for too long. But I would almost say it's worth it, because after this, we get what is arguably one of the funniest shots that we've gotten in this entire series so far. I got...
He's crying.
I got to admit, Tedros crying while staring wistfully at a Prince photo sitting outside the door while his sort of girlfriend is hooking up with her ex was not on my bingo card for The Idol. But yeah, my man's going through it, I guess, because
Buddy's crying while looking at a Prince poster, and I just don't really understand. I don't really get it. I don't really get it.
Jocelyn chose Rob or something. But honestly, Tedros and Jocelyn never even said that they were like exclusive or anything like that. There's been no depiction of love, just an intense physical relationship. So I'm not really sure why he's surprised. Anyway, Isaac asks Xander to do something for Tedros, and I guess Xander is just completely under Tedros's musty spell now because he agrees to set
Completely under his musty spell.
Tedros, and I guess Xander is just completely under Tedros's musty spell now because he agrees to set Rob up by snapping like this racy picture of him with a bikini-clad partygoer.
Delete that photo, bro.
It was completely against Rob's wishes. Like, she just sat on his lap without asking. Xander snapped the picture, and they were obviously trying to set him up.
Get it? It's perfect.
And then, yeah, roll credits. Episode 4 of The Idol.
What even happened this episode?
Episode was just a mess. It felt random, incoherent, and most of all, just completely unbelievable. If there had been even a hint of setup for some of these scenes, I would have understood. But instead, we just get Dawn of the Dark Jocelyn. And
the amount of things that happened in this episode that were just absolutely not set up in the first 3 episodes is really insane. Like, I get it. They were like, you know, he tortured somebody once, and they're like, well, now we have to show it to you. We have to show you how it works. And I don't think there is a... Are some of y'all actually trying to act like this show is not straight booty cheeks? It seems like that's the case, and I don't really understand what is redeemable about the show at all. I am looking forward to the end of covering it.
surprise ex-boyfriend and the surprise torture scene. And nobody's character arc is making sense at this point. Like, why is Xander now working for Tedros? Why is Jocelyn suddenly vindictive and mean? Why is Leia still in this house? I'm getting more questions than answers. So this 5th and final episode will be the show's very last chance to make an impact, or like make a statement, or at least just make sense.
No, but he said he didn't get it as a criticism. Just because he doesn't get it doesn't mean it's bad. I would argue that if The Weeknd pops up behind somebody, sorry, just to be clear, if Tedros pops up behind somebody and says, boo, and then he says, ha 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 ha, what'd you think I was gonna stick it in your butt? If I say I don't really understand why he said that outside of just being gross and weird, I feel like that's a valid criticism. I don't feel like, you know, I don't have to explain why every single little thing in the show doesn't make sense. I feel like it's pretty obvious why a lot of the scenes don't make sense. So like, I'm trying to respect you all's intelligence by simply not picking apart every single little scene and explaining why it's stupid, because I feel like sometimes it's just obvious, but I don't know. This is big dog business. I will not hold your hand.
But based on the show's track record, I just don't have very high hopes. Now, before we watch that final episode, as promised, here is The Weeknd embarrassing himself on Twitter. So this random user says, I can't watch that show with The Weeknd in it. It's gonna ruin his music for me. To which The Weeknd replies, good, don't listen.
I'm not gonna lie, this is actually kind of funny. The Weeknd responding to random people on Twitter is a bad use of his time and does make him look soft, but well, what I will say is when somebody's like, I'm not going to listen to your music anymore, and he's like, good, don't listen. That is pretty funny. I mean, it's ridiculous, and he shouldn't be doing it. But since he is, I feel like that's the best response. It's like when people were like, I hate this podcast, it's terrible, I don't like it. Then I would just be like, okay. I feel like this is right in the neighborhood of a okay response. Good, don't listen. The Weeknd is simply not going to miss one single listener. But still, publicizing this as like the biggest artist in the world is insane. Yeah, I approve of artists telling fans to F off. I'm cool with it. But I think that searching up your own name on Twitter to do that is actually ridiculous. Like, please, just move on.
This person didn't even mention him, so my man was straight up just searching his own name on Twitter so he could find people who don't like the show and reply to them. How are you gonna have a decade plus long career in music and still be this thin-skinned?
that is a fantastic point. The Weeknd has been doing this far too long to like be very petty with people on Twitter. How do you know he searched up his own name? Because either he searched up his own name or he's following people that don't like him. Like, I just know how Twitter works. I don't really know how else to explain that to you. Someone could have sent it to him. He has hundreds of fans. So he's reading random fans' DMs then. Either way, it's stupid. There's no defending it. Stop. It's silly. Every question that you ask to clarify makes him look worse.
When people are discussing your work. Also, I can't stand this attitude of, oh, if you don't like my work, then don't consume it. Like, it's really prevalent in this next tweet. Here, The Weeknd says, people who hate the show decided a long time ago. It's fine. If you hate it, don't watch it. And let the fans enjoy it.
If you hate it, don't watch it is hilarious because you wouldn't know whether you hate it until you watched it. I've heard people say that things are going to be bad before, and then I try them and then they're actually good. That happens all the time to people every single day. It's just a really interesting attitude to have. I just imagine that The Weeknd would just have more stuff to do. I have the luxury of having like a relatively small channel, and I'm not like an extremely high demand. But I would just assume that The Weeknd has better things to do than to reply to people on Twitter. But he is just a human, and I understand that he has feelings, and he's well within his right to do this. I just think it's a silly look for arguably the biggest artist in the world. And this is tough, because I applaud the bait. It's pretty good bait. I love The Weeknd's music, like, so much. Hurry Up Tomorrow is literally my favorite album of the year. Just watching him fight strangers on Twitter is crazy. People who decided to hate it, yeah, I don't know.
Simple. So let's get one thing straight. I decided to hate the show because you decided to make a bad show. This is very much a...
Bruno Mars better? Debatable. Let's get back to the actual... Oh my god, this is so funny. Who has the thread or article on why the Idol was bad? Please, I need it. And then this is actually a funny and kind of defending an artist you like from Destructive. Destructive is crazy. Yeah, the Weeknd is going to watch Derapy Yaps live, and it's gonna discourage him from doing future art. Someone hurry up, please tell me why I have something. I hate something everyone is telling me to hate. Hurry up before I come up. But he said if you don't like the show, don't watch it, even if you haven't watched the show yet. But now he's mocking people. To be fair, he's actually making a decent point here, but you know. We're not dogging on the Weeknd, we're dogging on the show. We're dogging on the Weeknd a little bit.
Can replies with, hurry up before I come up with...
I'm trying to get back to the actual episode. This is an article claiming that the Idol wasn't cut short to 5 episodes due to fan media backlash, but like I just kind of don't really believe it, if I'm being real. Because the amount of exposition dumping that is in the last episode is crazy.
Kick Tedros out. Exactly what I mean. So the final episode of The Idol just jumps straight into it. Jocelyn is working on her tracks, finishing them up, and she finally decides to kick Tedros out.
Want me to leave? You're gonna kick out your only source of inspiration?
Well, you've served your purpose.
She reveals that
You've served your purpose. So now she's acting as if she was using Tedros as a muse, which is crazy because he found her.
You're gonna kick out your only source of inspiration?
Well, you've served your purpose.
She reveals that she's now aware that Tedros used Diane to get her to go to the club, and that it was...
I'm just saying that it's his first movie. First of all, it's a TV show, so you shouldn't be too harsh. I can be. If you put it on HBO Max, then... and you have like an award-winning director, then we should be harsh. Best episode?
It was all basically just a plan to get in her good graces.
You're a con man and a fraud. He had this crazy plan, and it worked.
Even his other cult members are calling him out at this point, at Jocelyn's behest.
I mean, he's been manifesting this for forever.
Chloe, no, that's not true.
Like, Jocelyn isn't just kicking Tedros out, she's sort of taking a part of his cult with her.
You wanted to find a way into my life. You wanted me to hear your artists. They can stay. You, on the other hand, can go.
But yeah, that's that. So later, Jocelyn gets a call from Andrew Finkelstein, which is the guy who is ready to make the ultimate decision after all this time about whether or not she can go forward with her tour.
I have some concerns about the tour. and I need to talk to you about it face to face.
So Jocelyn is on a mission. She doesn't even have time for Leia to share something important.
Does it have anything to do with the tour? No. Great. Nothing else matters to me right now.
So what's Jocelyn's big plan?
She's on tour mode.
To impress Finkelstein and have him A-OK the tour?
I want Ramsey and Chloe and Isaac to be my opening act.
Now, Tedros, who is still here for some reason, objects to this, but Jocelyn is having absolutely none of it.
The difference between me and him is I can actually make you a star.
Once Jocelyn walks out, Tedros convinces Xander, aka his new lapdog, to be more assertive and do everything he can to become one of Jocelyn's opening acts as well.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, go sit down.
How many opening acts does she need?
To become one of Jocelyn's opening acts as well.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, go sit down.
So the big moment arrives, and Andrew Finkelstein, Nikki from the label, and Hyman Destiny all show up, waiting to see what Jocelyn has in store for them.
Good. Okay, we're hugging. Hi, nice to meet you. Hey.
So everyone in the weird music cult gives a warm greeting, except for Tedros, of course, who has to be...
So, just to be clear, Tedros brought all of these people into Jocelyn's life, and now Jocelyn is basically hijacking the cult and is going to take them on tour and have them open up for her. Absolute cinema.
Very Tedros about it because he's mad that Diane signed a record deal with Nikki without running it through him first.
You're just a TikTok obsessed algorithm.
Anyway, they run off to get Jocelyn so they can start demoing the songs for all of these executives. And what ensues is 100% the most drawn out scene in the entire series. This is just peak unnecessary. Jocelyn and co basically try to seduce all of the executives while demoing their music at the same time. So we get this awkward, overlong talent show / group lap dance thing that goes on for a staggering 23 minutes.
23-minute long performance. 23 minutes straight of them singing and trying to seduce the people that would let them on the tour. Real shit. 23 minutes. That is an entire episode of a sitcom. 23 minutes.
Xander sings a song. Chloe sings a song wearing basically just her underclothes.
Also, Homegirl's basically in her undergarments, and the show has implied that she's 17, which is sick.
Isaac sings a song wearing just his underclothes, and the whole time, like, Nikki and Andrew and everyone are acting like this is literally the greatest music they've ever heard in their entire life. It's like if Prince married Prince and had a baby Prince. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
I haven't seen like this since Prince. That has a soul of Prince.
This is so insulting to Prince, by the way.
I'm not exaggerating.
I haven't seen like this since Prince. That has a soul of Prince.
Jocelyn sings her song wearing so little that I don't even think I can show it. And you know, despite the way everyone's reacting, the songs are honestly not that good. Like, don't get me wrong, the songs are obviously nice.
Bro, like, they can sing, but we're talking about it like, to me, you should needlessly hit on him. That's like putting a Twinkie on the top of a staircase and telling him he doesn't want to drink it. All right. Okay.
And everyone here is very talented, but these people are acting like they're hearing the second coming of Beethoven and the Beatles at the same time.
If he really found these people, he's legitimately a genius.
It's to the point where Destiny and Nikki are both trying to like recruit all of the artists for themselves.
We do this alone.
Don't mess with Destiny. Just let's work together.
It's just 23 minutes of pure absurdity.
It's
like,
so weird because now they're all talking to Tedros as if like they want to get on his good side because they're like so impressed with him being able to find these people, but he's literally like, he's a cult leader. He told them that they're not allowed to say no, and he shocks them with shock collars, and they're like, we got to get in on this. This is good. This is good stuff. Well, let's make a deal.
The show's completely lost its plot which I'm pretty sure is the last thing you want to happen in the season finale. Now, while these things are happening, the show does manage to intercut some plot developments, but they all just happen via a series of like short conversation snippets. So for example, Rob, Jocelyn's ex, calls Leia to tell her how Xander set him up and the way that it's backfired. But honestly, it's just really distracting to have this really serious conversation while Chloe's caterwauling in the background.
Hey, my friend's a fan. Can I take a photo? And then this girl just jumped in my lap, and now she's going to the press saying I raped her.
Yeah, this is just another, oh my god. Yeah, they're dropping like what's supposed to be extremely important exposition while this Chloe girl is literally belting in the background. It's just, it's just not. Sorry, I have to be very specific with my criticism because otherwise it'll be like I'm just needlessly hating. When there's important dialogue happening in the show, you would not like to have people singing over it.
Hey, my friend's a fan. Can I take a photo? And then this girl just jumped in my lap, and now she's going to the press saying I raped her.
Since Rob told her that Xander took the picture, Leia tries to confront him about it, but she's intimidated by one of Tedros' goons.
What?
I'm sorry.
What's
I'm
wrong?
sorry. Oh,
You okay?
yeah, I'm fine.
Sure?
And Xander, of course, already knows what happened since he's the one who did the dirty work.
Oh no. He's got that huge movie coming out.
So apparently these false allegations caused Rob to get dropped from his superhero movie because the studio decided that they would just be digitally
replacing him. We won't let one individual's behavior derail the work of thousands.
Jocelyn obviously realizes that Tedros is the one who set up these false allegations, which, imagine doing that? Why is this a plot point? Like, you're gonna get back at her for getting back at you by falsely accusing her ex of assault. What is this?
I don't even get it. It's like Tedros is getting back at Jocelyn for linking up with her ex by pushing a false narrative that Jocelyn's ex forced himself onto some chick that's not Jocelyn so that Tedros could get back at Jocelyn. But we were only introduced to her ex like last episode. So the fact that they're even mentioning this is crazy. Like, why?
Show, really. Like, on a conceptual level, you know? Anyway, Jocelyn is big mad, so she tells Tedros to leave or she will call the police. But he says even that's not gonna be enough.
Then I'll keep you hostage.
Then they'll kill you.
Not before I kill you first.
So Jocelyn switches gears and asks Haim to pay Tedros off to get him off her back once and for all.
$500,000 for you, Mauricio Jackson.
But even that doesn't work because Tedros doesn't take the money.
Why doesn't he want $500,000?
So Haim decides to enact Plan B. Now, at this point, I thought Plan B was going to be something risky, maybe a little illegal, and I would have gladly welcomed
I thought they were going to put him on 6 feet under.
it, just so at least something happens in this finale other than singing and strained conversations. But apparently, Haim's big plan B was to just ask Talia from Vanity Fair to write a negative article about Tedros.
I got a bigger story for you. My girl's in a lot of trouble, and I could use your help.
But yes, keep in mind that literally all of this was happening while we were getting all of this weird music in the background. And, you know, I guess a few gyrating singers and a bunch of strange songs were enough to get Andrew Finkelstein back on board.
Suffice to say the tour is back on. And that's
So he was literally canceling the tour, and then she introduced some complete strangers. No background checks, no identity checks, because one of the chicks might be underage. Literally no clue who these people are. And now the tour is back on because of this 20 minutes. Okay.
Not sure if you got that by now.
Jocelyn also agrees to let Xander be the opening act, and the two make up, but mostly just so Jocelyn can rub it in Tedros' face. But yeah, between the 23-minute show and tell and all the arguing that took place beforehand, we spent the entire first half of this episode, like almost 30 minutes, just in Jocelyn's living room watching people be weird. Literally nothing has happened. This is like the first episode all over again. But the first episode actually did manage to pick up a little bit of steam, at least in the second half. But I guess they really decided to switch things up this time. Because if nothing happened in the first half of this episode, less than nothing happens in the second half. Like,
It's so crazy how, like, you know, typically finales are supposed to be like the biggest, most climactic part of the show. I know that is not the case, unfortunately, at the end of The Last of Us season 2, but we're going to talk about that at a different time, at a different date, probably this week or something. But yeah, naturally, the last episode of this miniseries, already extremely short series, already possible that one of the episodes is cut. Somehow, still, they could not have anything exciting happen at the end of the show.
Like, it's all
Like the video.
just quick cuts and exposition. We get a quick shot of Leia finally leaving Jocelyn's house, leaving behind a note, which we of course don't get to read for some reason. And then that's just straight up the last we see of Leia. Like, she doesn't even say anything. We get one quick scene where Nikki tells Diane that someone's blocked the release of World Class Center due to a songwriting credit dispute.
It was Jocelyn, wasn't it?
And then that's just it. That's the last we see of Diane for the rest of the series, making this whole, like, Diane replaces Jocelyn thing one of the most pointless wastes of potential I've ever seen in a plot line. It went nowhere. But yeah, after these quick scenes, we then skip ahead 6 weeks to the very night of Jocelyn's first show on her.
It's so crazy how, like, one of the only interesting plot points ended up just getting exposited out of the story, and it ended up not even being like a big deal.
Big tour. And at this point, I could literally feel the show creators just running out of time as the episode progressed, because this entire thing is just one massive info dump.
Mental illness. This thing is worth a fortune. Look at Jocelyn. All you have to do is admit it, and then people feel sorry for you.
Like, they just keep talking.
We sold out. She dropped 3 hit singles in 6 weeks.
And then they keep talking.
Your employees stage a walkout claiming Jocelyn's.
This is literally just a long scene of them just talking about what was supposed to happen towards the end of the show. It's crazy.
Music's misogynistic and you weren't scared.
And then they keep
I can't believe Derapy just banned Able freaking Weeknd. Yeah, I don't care.
talking again.
Sylvan Boyd jumped 8,000% just that day.
I'm not even really cutting scenes out at this point. Like, this is how you can tell that the series did in fact end early. It got cut down from 6 episodes to 5. 100%. I refuse.
Okay, I want to skip to the part where oh god, yeah, he's still arguing with people on Twitter. There's a part towards the end where she like brings out The Weeknd when the tour starts, and it's insane.
Despite the fact that he literally threatened to kill her.
None of this means as much without you.
Apparently her and Tedros get back together at the end of the show, even though they were literally talking about like ending each other's bloodlines earlier. And he was literally abusing, literally torturing and abusing people that had been close to her for a long time, made her friend leave the house, slapped her dietitian or nutritionist or whatever. And now she's like, I need you, even though she already told him that he'd served his purpose. Cinema.
I don't like being apart.
You don't like being apart, but you just tried to pay $500,000 to never see this man again.
They literally just tried to give him $500,000 to leave her alone forever, and she's like, I want you back. Wow.
Like 6 weeks ago. Make it make sense. I absolutely do not understand Jocelyn's character, and at this point, I don't really think the show does either. Anyway, Tedros picks up the whole thing that somehow makes less sense than everything else she's done so far.
I have the opportunity
Check those out.
to introduce you to the love of my life.
Let me introduce you to the love of my life, who I just threatened to call the police on.
The crowd is psyched, but Nikki, Haim, and Andrew are like, hold on. She's not about to go there, is she? But she does. But like, they literally just told us that Tedros' entire reputation was ruined because he was exposed as this violent criminal in a Vanity Fair article.
Yeah,
So-
they literally gave a tip to the Vanity Fair article people, like the redhead that was there at the beginning of the show. They literally got them to write a bad article on him. They tried to pay him off. They tried to call the police on him. And now she's like, this is the love of my life. I've never seen a show end so badly.
So by going public as this man's girlfriend, Jocelyn is pretty much just throwing away her entire career, unless I am totally misunderstanding something. Like, no big deal. It's just her career the thing that she's been trying to get back for this entire series. So then what was the point of any of this?
You're mine. Forever. Now go stand over there.
Like, I get it. I really do.
Now go stand over there. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Hey, look, listen. Shout out D'Angelo Wallace. One of my favorite YouTubers ever. Also, check the search bar. What does that say? What's that? Insane. You haven't liked the vid. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of weird to be here and not like the video. All right. We didn't quite hit our goal, but to everybody that, oh yeah, also this. He left out that was supposed to be the twist. The brush story was never true. Yeah, also, by the way, apparently, according to the show, it's implied at the end that apparently her mom never even hit her with a brush. Apparently, Jocelyn made it all up. This was all part of her master plan. She was never even abused. So, Edison says, thank you, Derapy. And I say, thank you. Thank you all for being nice to each other. Thank you all for being nice to me for the most part. Just because this is one of the worst shows ever doesn't mean that The Weeknd isn't still out here making good music. He did just come out with a movie that I highly recommend you do not watch.